Yay! Oh, no! Where has the YouTube chat gone? That's so annoying. It's there somewhere. Let me sort it back out again because it's so... It was, by the way. Ruthless Gravity. That was indeed correct. I do like that track. It's from the film Layer Cake. And I like Layer Cake too. Layer Cake's fantastic. Anyway, hello. It's another coffee chat. Yay! I'm here. Hello. Let me get Discord involved. Hello, Discord. Yes, we've got quite a fair few people on the Discord here. We've got Not Banana Joe, Dark, Maddox, hey, from Feast, and Rolling Swarm, hovering in the background, looking for his rose-tinted optics also. But hey, well, what have we got to talk about? We've got loads to talk about. There's new stuff coming up. So I'm going to show you, I was going to do a video on leaks and stuff, but everybody else has done them, so there's no point. I mean, what's the point of sort of telling you leaks when everybody else has leaked it? No point really, is there? But I'll show you the video I did, so maybe you'll like it. I don't know, who knows. We've got a new community tour coming up. We're going to talk about that. It's being organised by the community, and that community happens to be the likes of Rolling Swarm, Cougar from Imor, the clan lead, Zerd from Akva, Wild Ones Helper, who we all know and love, one of the streamers. And there's others, and I've forgotten, and that's really bad. In fact, yeah, but we'll show you all that. We'll talk about all that, and we'll tell you all about it. It's going to be a great tournament event coming up towards the end of this month. So don't stress, we'll talk all about that. And of course, there's usual stuff, raging. Roar, there's a lot of rage going on. Yes. Incitement to riot. Yes. Oh, dearie me. It's going to be Blitz and on. That's the way it's going to go, guys. Blitz and on. We're all going to storm Minsk at this rate, or something along those lines. We also got to talk about Mad Games, because Mad Games is back, and it's a game mode I don't particularly like. In fact, I really don't like it. But I did a live stream last night, and I found a new way to enjoy Mad Games, and that is do the HE challenge. Just go out in HE only. So I went out in a Smasher, just HE. I went out in an Annihilator, just HE. I went out in a Jaegeru, just HE. just HE everything, guys. If you lose, who cares? It's Mad Games. But you never know, you might actually enjoy it. And I know I did. I had great fun. So I'm just waiting for some others to turn up, because hopefully we're going to get to talk or listen from some of the organisers of the upcoming tour community event thing. So I'm just going to sort of park that for a moment until those people hopefully will turn up. I know Brian, Rolling Swarm, is here already, but there are others involved, as I said. I mean, there's, as I said, there's Zerd and Kuma, and unfortunately Wild Ones Alper, I think, is a bit busy today, so he can't turn up. But maybe some of the others will, so we'll get to hear from them, so to speak, about what's going on, and etc. etc. But wow, what can I say? What? How many? Yeah, there's too many Darrens. That's the problem. That's why I call myself Fugit rather than Darren, because everybody says hi Darren, and I think, are they talking to me or are they talking to Meadsy? And normally it's normally Meadsy they're talking about, not me. So no point doing that. So anyway, aside from that, let's have a look and see what's in the store first. Admittedly, my game window is pretty small at the moment because we're doing this coffee chat thing. But there isn't much there. There's the containers collection if you want to spend your gold. Yeah, go for it. There's your X.
Only worth thing on the good thing is the 2065.
Well, there you go then. There you go. There's the Dicker Max, which, you know, it's not a new tank. It's been in the game for a long time. It's just a little bit cheaper. Or you can get, for 800 gold, 50 parts for the Lozers M4A2 Sherman, if you're that way inclined. Or you could just do it the normal way and get mastery badges. Your call, really. There's the T26E5 and the T26E3 Eagle, if you like your American tanks. Or there's the so you got the Sheriff or the Eagle. Well, sort of similar tanks, really. It's up to you guys. There's the E75 TS, which to an extent is a pretty powerful tank in Tier 8. And you've got the sort of the German Bulldog, which is a nice tank. I must admit, I do like the M4190. It is a nice little tank, and you can get those for gold if you do want to do that. And then you got the camo containers. Droodles, I think, did a video on those the other day. If you want your shiny animated camos, you can go for that. And that's about all. And of course, you can get avatars for 100 gold. There you go. I mean, who doesn't want to get avatars for 100 gold? Well, me. And there's nothing in my bundles, so I can't show you. There is something there, it's just not showing me, and I don't know why, because it's like that. It's silly. We've also got, as I said, Mad Games is back up and running. Love them or loathe them. Jury's out for me. I'm not a massive fan of Mad Games, but I know some of you like it. It's easy to grind, but the irony is this. I mean, guys, if you're going to do Mad Games, don't start raging on everybody. I mean, it's Mad Games. It's a stupid game mode. I mean, how can you rage on people when you've got the chance to go invisible? Oh, I mean, what mentality is this? If you're going invisible, the chances are you're not going to be playing a real tank-type game, are you? I mean, I know, unless, of course, you suddenly manage to jump yourself into the James Bond movie, which was, I can't remember what it was called now, the one about the Koreans with the diamonds in their face, where he had the invisible Aston Martin. Of course, if you've got invisible shit like that, then yeah, it's real. But everybody ridiculed that movie, quite rightly so. Tomorrow Never Dies. And I'm ridiculing why people take Mad Games seriously. I don't get it myself.
Yeah, there are some people who basically grind victories to not join their win rates, and also I think mostly people rage because people are having fun, and sometimes the ramming tanks are kind of annoying.
Yeah, but it's just a stupid game mode. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You lose credits. That's the worst that can happen. I mean, if you're a stat paddler, don't play Mad Games. And if you've got nothing better to do than rage at people in Mad Games, then I give you the following suggestion, everybody. Turn the game off and go for a walk and see that you live in a real world where there are trees and birds and pretty fluffy clouds floating over your head.
I think the thing is we've all played so many thousands of battles in regular game mode, and so we're preconditioned. A loss is a loss, even if it doesn't matter.
There is that, I guess. But I mean, I can rage at myself or my teammates if, say, a grill in regular game mode, sitting on the top of a hill on canal, blasts me to Kingdom Come. I find it difficult to rage when a Panther 2 that's invisible for the last 30 seconds rams me into oblivion. I mean,
that's the thing. It's not.
I can't turn around and say, "Oh, I saw that coming."
Yeah, it's like the thing is, it's not like it's balanced-ish, but it's like there are some things which, like you say, like there's no way you could have seen it coming, and you can't blame your teammates if they didn't see it coming as well.
Absolutely.
I had a game. I've been playing the T49 like an absolute madman in Mad Games, and wrecking people's days. And it's happened to me on a few occasions where I've done 0 damage because like someone in a one of these Centurion AX thingies or whatever, just rams me out of nowhere for all of my hit points because I had the audacity to stay still for like 5 seconds. I'm like, oh no.
Well, like I said, we took it to another level yesterday on the stream. We just did HE, including the 49. It was expensive, but it was good fun spamming hash everywhere in a 49. I must admit, it was different. But it's sort of, we got raged on because clearly we weren't taking it seriously. I mean, why would we? We're spamming heat, or HE, sorry. And somebody said to me, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that because it's so difficult to play the E100 with just HE." No, it's not. No, it's not. No. Not in Mad Games either. It's not. It's actually quite refreshing and it's quite interesting and it is good fun. I really enjoyed it. I even rolled out in the worst tank in the game, in my opinion, which is that stupid Vindicator thing, and just spammed HE. It was interesting. It was interesting, but Mad Games is what it is. People use it to grind, but I think you're right. I think we're so preconditioned with normal gameplay that raging does happen, but not to the level of raging I saw directed at poor old Ventium yesterday. I mean, that was a new level of rage. I've done a video on it, but it was a new level of rage. It really was. I mean, if you think of any type of hatred out there, and it was all packaged up in one little nice hatred bundle and just thrown out there in like a 30-second video clip. And, you look at that and think, really? If the game is that bad for you, dude, then don't play it. Because you're going to give yourself a hernia somewhere. Honestly. It just made me giggle a little bit. But, I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about that. I don't see the point. If anybody wants to know my thoughts on it, I mean, if you guys want to talk about it, fine. But if anybody wants to know my thoughts on it, I've done a video on it and said what I needed to say or felt that I needed to say. And I'm going to leave it at that. Because there are more important things to talk about, like the upcoming community tournament. And I'm going to show you, where is it? I'm going to show you a promo for this. So here we go. Boom. So it's called the Blitz Premier Cup. Sorry, not Premium, Premier Cup. And it's going to run from the 22nd of March, which is coming up soon, to the 4th of April. And it's organised by, as I said, Wild Ones Halper, who we do know, Zerd, who is the clan leader of Aqua, one of those clans that is a pro clan type thing. Apparently they did really well recently. I don't know. Tumpy, who was formerly, and I don't know if he still is, but he was formerly in Win, I believe. He was Tumpy from the north. I don't know where he is now. Is he Hessop or is he Aqua? I can't remember. I think it's Kuma who went to Aqua. I don't know where Tumpy is. Tumpy, if you're around, please let me know, because it's really bad of me not to remember that. We also have Rolling Swarm. Everybody knows who Rolling Swarm is. He's now sitting in Karna, which, oddly enough, is the same clan that the person who was abused yesterday that I did a video on is the clan lead of. And apparently his stats are terrible. Absolutely horrendous. And then we have Kuga, who is the clan lead of Imor, another pro clan in the EU. And Shappy, who is in the same clan as me, but unlike me, he can actually play the game, and he's a pro. So those are the organisers, and they're organising it. Now, it is a community event, and it is being funded by the community, funnily enough. And there is an overall goal of €2,000, which is the prize fund that they're aiming for. And it's purely based on donations by the community. And I think at the moment they're standing at just over 700 and something euros. So there is more about it. I mean, I'll put a link in my Discord. In fact, I'll put a link here as well if I've still got the link. Have I still got the link? I've got it somewhere. I'll find it, and I'll put a link in the chat here for the, if you want to go and sort of donate, you can go and donate and stuff like that. But it is coming up. It's going to be streamed, and there are quite a few streamers lined up for this. I'm one of them. Clearly, Rolling Swarm is one of them. Jack is one of them, i.e. Wild Ones Halper. Amunet is also on board. Juicy Tender Steak on board. Every Good Name is taken. And Fishy, oddly enough. So there is going to be quite a few streamers, and you're going to see the games. And it's going to be a really interesting tournament, guys. So it's something that you can look forward to before the spring season. Simple as that. And hopefully some of the others will turn up to talk in more detail about it. But we don't have to talk about that right yet. Oh no!
I can.
There we go. Rolling Swarm is back online, taking breaks in between.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm keeping my microphone muted so you don't hear my heavy breathing in the background. Yeah, so I mean, we're really looking forward to it. I think this could be one of the better community tournaments that's been organised recently. I mean, there have been lots in the past, and we've had some really great people involved in organising and streaming and even assisting. And we've had some ones which have been really well organised, but we've had issues with the sponsorship. And so this is the first time that the people that are in this organising group kind of it all evolved on Discord a couple of weeks ago. We were chatting about like, we could do it, and they're like, okay, well, let's do it. And one thing led to another. We created the Discord server. We had people kind of committing to sponsoring certain amounts from their own pocket. We had people reaching out and doing like some graphic design, liaising with the representatives from the top clans, and there's lots of people pulling lots of different strings, all pulling the rope in the same direction. And it's shaping up to be really good. Like, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be another cracking community tournament. We've got like all of the big name clans on board, with the exception, I think, of Endgame, who are probably quite rightly taking a well-deserved rest and recharging themselves for the spring season.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's evolving really well. We're targeting, like you said, we've got the prize pool targeted at 2,000 euros. I personally will be really happy if we can get above 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment, of course, like you very generously have contributed into the prize pool. I've contributed. Zerds, like everyone's kind of chipping in here and there. And at the moment, we've just passed 736 euros.
Oh, excellent.
So yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good. But we haven't. That's just from kind of like a very small group of people. We haven't started putting out all the information to everyone to contribute, like, you know, the different supporters of the YouTubers involved and things. So I'm quite confident that we could get quite a good prize pool together.
Mm. No, absolutely. I mean, if we can get I mean, you know, from what I've seen so far, it's going on leaps and bounds. As you said, it's looking far more organised than some of the community tours that we've had in the past, let's say. And you know,
it's really.
No, carry on.
So the organisation is going to be really good, and we kind of took the prize pool. We've taken. I don't want to say ownership of, but we had issue. I mean, I don't know if you were involved. I can't recall in streaming the Blitz International Cup, the kind of the hybrid one between Russia. Yeah, there were issues with the sponsorship in that, and we had 2,000 euros lined up, I think, from one or two sponsors, and just fell through completely, which is an absolute shame because the players really deserve. You know, if you're going to commit X amount of time on the premise potentially of earning even a little bit of cash at the end of the day, you know, if you split 1,000 euros between 10 people, 100 euros for the amount of time spent like training and playing in a tournament, it's not huge,
no,
but it's also not nothing. And that's why we kind of took the initiative to make sure that we were very transparent with the funding and kind of getting all the stuff collected from the different sources, so that we can guarantee the participants will get the kind of the reward at the end if they come like first or second, maybe even third place, can get a cash reward if we get the funds up enough.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be, and of course it's being organised by from people who know how tournaments really run. I mean, you've got notable clan players, notable pro players, obviously yourself in notable streamers. So it's not sort of something that's just been thrown together by somebody last week. I mean, it's been done by those who know.
Yeah, that's I mean, because although it's sort of, we got the ball rolling not too long ago. Like, all the people involved have got years and years of experience in one way or another. So we're definitely going to have enough, or we're aiming to have enough streamers so that every single match is covered. We know what we're doing in terms of the wording, and that's something you've helped with, you know, the wording of the rules and the structure. We've got people creating the graphics. We're going to have dedicated people to do the kind of the room admin, which is something in community tournaments a lot of people have a complete oversight on, because it's very difficult to stream, commentate a tournament, and also manage a room, because when you're in a training room, which you use for community tournaments, it's the room organizer, the host, has to manually move people in and out of the different teams. And when you've got two teams of 10 players and they've got the reserves each and they're shuffling people in and out, like that's a busy task. That's a full-time job on its own.
Yeah. I'm just putting the donate link in the chat. So that's the donate link, everybody, I believe. It's not a link to my PayPal, don't worry. It's actually a link to donate page. Let me just check that. I've just taken it from the Discord.
Yeah. So this yeah.
Oh, it is the donate page. That's okay. It's not my PayPal.
That is the PayPal. The donate pool, to be fully transparent, is connected to my PayPal account, to Rolling Swarm's PayPal account. So until the money is paid out to the winners of the tournament, I have like full control in terms of PayPal over the funds in that. So it's my personal guarantee going alongside that donate link. But it's like whatever's put in there, you can see who's put in however much. So we're trying to be fully transparent with that, because I want people to feel that they can trust us and me with their money, which is very difficult to do. I feel very awkward saying, yes, you can definitely trust me with your money, because I know you can, but that's exactly what someone would say that you couldn't trust with your money.
But I suppose at least now, you're sort of avoiding the repeat that happened with the Blitz International Cup, which is, unfortunately, as you said, I mean, the sponsors fell through there, and these things happen. But at least we know who to go after and who can be hung, drawn, and quartered, and it's basically you. So that's good.
Well, no, absolutely. And Amonet's got my address. She sent me a gift recently for the birth of my daughter. So, if I do turn out to be an absolute shady character, just have to get my address from her, and there you go. That's it. That's all. You can get the mob with the torches and pitchforks.
Absolutely.
Assembled.
I'm absolutely sure it won't go that way, and I'm absolutely convinced to the hilt that everybody who knows you trusts you in that respect. So I don't think there's a problem there, to be honest with you. I mean...
Absolutely.
And I'm sure the teams will feel a bit more relaxed knowing that at least the prize pool isn't going to disappear. But just quickly, just moving aside from the tournament, did you get the present from Amunet?
I did. It arrived the other day. I'll send you a picture with it later on Discord.
Oh, excellent.
It arrived, perfect condition. Amunet gave us all the instructions and everything as well. But now it's rolled back up in the little storage tube, ready to us to find someone to frame it properly. But it is. I mean, she's very talented. She's very, very talented.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been watching her progress on it for quite a while, and it's been fantastic to watch.
Oh man!
So it has been fantastic to watch. Yeah, and obviously there are certain bits and bobs that we were sworn to secrecy because of various reasons. I mean, one, nobody wanted to say anything until you yourself made the announcement on the addition to the Swarm family.
Mini swarm.
Mini rolling.
Swarm,
mini swarm.
Mini rolling.
Yeah. What? Yeah, we should. I suppose she could be called. I don't know. Crawling swarm at the moment.
Crawling swarm, definitely. Well, I mean, at the moment she's just kind of like sitting around doing nothing swarm. She's like 6 weeks old.
That's even better.
Takes after her dad. It's all good.
Yeah, so we were sworn to secrecy for various reasons, and everybody was chomping at the bit because we were watching its progress on this thing, and it was fantastic to watch. And she's put a lot of work into it in fair play. I mean, for the dedication, and plus it was something she loves doing, and she always wanted to give something that was personal to you, rather than the normal just buy it from a Hallmark store or something. So I'm glad it turned up perfect condition. So that's awesome to know. But those of you who don't know what we're talking about, there is an addition to Brian's family. He has a young baby. Unless you've been living under a rock for a while, or you don't know him, then you've missed it. But we wish him all the best with that. It's been absolutely fantastic news. And obviously, he will update people as much as he can, when he can, and when he wishes to. But yeah, we're looking forward to the tournament. And as I said, it's coming up. So put it in your diaries, guys. 22nd of March until the 4th of April. So it's going to be a biggie. It's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a fantastic one. It's going to be a lot of the top clans, as was said. Their pitch was for the best 10 on EU, but certain clans can't take part, so they've done it on a sort of rota. If I don't know, clan, if Endgame can't take part, then they'll look at the clan that came 11th, etc., and invite on a priority basis. So you are going to see some of the best clans, and of course they're going to take it seriously because it's a tournament, and that's what clans do. They take these things seriously. So you are going to be seeing some good gameplay just before the spring season, which is always interesting, because we have spring season coming up, I think towards the end of April, something along those lines. So it's a good filler. It's a good filler. So that's going to be interesting to see. Hello, Meadsy. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm drinking tea as well. But I was trying to be inclusive because not everybody around the world drinks tea. So beer chat. Well, that's probably later. that's probably more of a later in the evening type affair. If it was up to my wife, it'd be vodka chat. So, you know,
I'm sensing a natural evolution of coffee chats. You know, like you have your morning coffee chat, you have your afternoon tea chats, and then there's like a late evening whiskey and cigars chat, which I am so on board with.
You know what? Yeah, I'd be on board with that one as well. Let's all go to the whiskey and cigar chat. Yeah, that'd be cool. Actually, that really would be cool.
I mean, each of you guys can get one. Fugit can get the coffee chat up. Roland can get the whiskey and the whiskey chat on. Probably Aminet can get the tea chat in the afternoon.
Meadsy can do the beer chats. Meadsy can do the beer and kebab chat. Yeah, that would be a good one for you, Meadsy. Looking forward to that one, mate. Beer and kebab chat with Meadsy. But you're right. I think you're right there, Maddox. I think we can all take one each. And that would be funny. That would be good. But yeah. So I'm going to play this.
Fugit, but I prefer that over the coffee, so I will go to Meadsy then.
I know you would, because you're a beer man. You are. You're into your beer. You're into your. You'll be into the. Yeah, you'll be all over the Meadsy beer chat. That is no doubt. Oh no, Meadsy's doing a chocolate milkshake and kebab chat apparently.
Oh, that's also fine.
That's also fine as well.
Too many ingredients.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Fusilier X is saying that Meadsy has no knowledge about beer, so prepare. So you'll have to educate him, Jory, because you know about beer. We know that. And you could all play mini motorways at the same time, or what's it called? EU truck haulage.
Euro truck driver.
Euro truck driver. That's what it is. Yeah, I'm still on my way to Bern. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but yeah, it is. Oof. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
It's way more relaxing than Blitz.
Well, yeah. Well, for one, you don't get people screaming at you that you should get some horrific disease or intimate carnal knowledge with family members.
Only Eric.
Oh yeah, but he's like that all the time. But even so, even Eric hasn't told me that he's going to get intimate carnal knowledge of my family members. So that's an interesting one, to be fair.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, it's outrageous, really. Adam, how about no? That's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. You would abuse everybody, and you would abuse the power that is given to you as a mod, because I know what you're like. You would ban Ventium for a start. And you really would, and you know you would. So don't go there. Bloody hell. But the other thing we've got coming is, like I said, I was going to do a leak video, but there was no point because other people did leak videos, and there's only so many leak videos about the same leak that you can stomach. But some of you will know that we've got some new stuff coming up. We've got a new game mode that's coming in, which is going to be basically jumping in gravity. Well, it's not new game mode, it's still gravity mode.
Ability.
But it's a new ability, that's the word I was looking for, yes. And it only applies for...
Oh, nice.
It would only apply for light tanks and medium tanks, I believe, if I remember rightly. So it doesn't apply for heavies.
You can dodge the heavy tanks.
Yeah, but I mean, some of you, if you've seen the videos on either the World of Tanks Blitz official channel or the likes of Meads' channel, because Meadsy did a leak video on it, then you will see the view whereby you'll see the view the screenshot whereby the tanks are jumping, and it does look funny. But I do know that Rolling Swarm is not a big fan of gravity mode, to be honest with you. So you'll have to drag him. You have to drag him out into gravity mode.
No, you know what? I said a lot of mean and very hurtful things about gravity mode when I was angry about something else, ATGMs. And You know what? I'm going to go on record as saying that I was wrong and mistaken, and that actually it's fun when you're not like super mad about ATGMs and wish that Wargaming would invest their time in fixing problems. Because you know what?
Yeah.
I see that all of these kind of fun game modes, like I'm not a huge fan of realistic mode, but I totally appreciate that there are people out there that love it. And I enjoy Uprising, but the respawn mechanics aren't for me. But like, you know, I again, like I can see there are some people where they live for Uprising. And I love mad games, you know, so I think it's really cool the way Wargaming are kind of rotating these things through every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Like I'm on board, you know.
Well, there you go. You've heard it from the horse's mouth. Gravity mode is no longer in the shadow of hatred from rolling. He's now embracing it. He didn't like it to begin with. That I do know.
Embracing is a strong word.
Warming. He's warming to it. He's warming to gravity. That's probably a better description. He's lukewarm, but he's warming. But,
warming swarm.
Warming swarm. There you go. I mean, I'm not a big fan of mad games. I must admit, it's not my favourite of the game modes. I mean, I like gravity because basically I just ram everything in sight, and I like flying because it's quite nice. And I do like Uprising because you get more than one life, which when you YOLO everywhere is great. It's really good. But mad games, no, I was never a big fan of mad games. But I am also swarming to it. Because
if you want to enjoy mad games, just take Panzer II or T-34 free and press the speed button.
No, I've just been taking a smasher and loading just HE. It's just as good. Or as Gaming Tanker advised me last night, although I'm pretty naff at it, take the T-34-3. Is it 3? And just ram everything. just attack everybody. It's great, man. It is a good tank.
Get tricky.
The controls are tricky. I haven't mastered the how to keep it in a straight line and still ram.
If you want to master the ramming skill, start with the Panther 2. You have armor and you get the speed, and the invisibility helps you. Like you have better handling. And then when you get the hang of the ramming part, then you just switch to T-34 free and press the speed.
I mean, some of the game modes, as you say, they're net 4-4. I mean, some of the game modes. I mean, realistic's okay. It teaches people to actually, aim their shots. I like skirmish because it teaches people parts of the map that the other beers wouldn't normally reach, which I think is a good thing because people don't know certain parts of the maps. So I do think the game modes are good to let off steam, and that's the other thing. This is why I never understood about the toxicity in the game modes. I mean, Mad Games Uprising is there just to sort of let off steam. Burning Games is there to try and get you to play like a team player. It doesn't really work, but I enjoy Burning Games because it forces you to play as a team, go around healing everybody, which is interesting. Nothing wrong with hit point sharing, to be honest with you. So I don't mind them. And as I say, gravity mode you just get to fly around a lot, and it's a bit weird, but it's all good fun.
And the gravity is the only game mode where VK100 168 is good.
That is true. It's the only. It does come into its own there, and it suddenly starts to think that it's such not a bad tank, but it still is not a great tank. Let's be honest with you, but it's okay. But yeah, you're right. In gravity mode, it certainly becomes a tank that you can all of a sudden start playing. But there we go. But so Adam, I don't care if you're a friend of his. To be honest with you, it's. You can be friends with whoever you wish. I'm not going to rise to that. All I've got to say is the level of toxicity I saw at 4 a.m. this morning on a stream from an influencer was extreme. And as I said in my recent video, if it was done for views, then that's even worse, because where do you then stop? Where do you draw a line and say, enough's enough? Because if you're doing it for views, there becomes a point in time where you want more views, and therefore you up the ante on the level of abuse that you churn out. And you will, even if you don't intend to, at some point in time,
Very nice.
You will hurt somebody. Mentally or physically, you will hurt somebody. And that's just wrong as an influencer. It's just not right.
Very nice.
Oh, thank you. Whoever that was. Who was that? I haven't seen anybody donate anything. People are saying I'm getting donations, but I'm not. But there we go. It looks nice. I'm pretty sure.
Very nice.
I don't know why that's coming up. I think
I had something similar. I had like a couple of old donations repeating. I think maybe the I don't know, something on the website end is repeating.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with Stream Elements somewhere. So
Yeah, I think Streamlabs is like doubling up. But speaking of donations, if you've got time for a quick update,
of course,
Fugit. So when you announced the prize pool for the community tournament, the Blitz, you said it's Premier, but I actually like Premium better. So for the Blitz Premium Cup, we had in the fund 736 euros.
Yes,
we're now up to 1,106.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah.
My
it's been like less than half an hour. Well done.
Wow,
that's
so
awesome.
Whoever,
so many positive ways.
Whoever, Lopunny, thank you for joining. As a member, I'll get back to you in a minute. But whoever has donated in that short space of time between Rolling and I speaking about it, you are all stars. Everybody who's donated is a star. To be fair, everybody, absolutely everybody.
Especially, I mean, we've got No Party Nico chipped in, but a big shout out goes to the Bare Nose, who has put in a very substantial contribution, and definitely deserves something shiny with their name on it.
Absolutely.
For being such a great sponsor.
Big kudos to you, the Bare Nose. I know you were in the chat a minute ago, and it was because of you we put the link in there, so really big thanks to that, man. You deserve more recognition. Absolutely a lot more recognition. So I'm chuffed to bits. In such a small space of time, you've gone from 730 all the way up to over 1,000. That's even better. Oh, that's fantastic. Wow. Good news. Yes. See, it's not all about toxicity and doom and gloom in coffee chats. There's also good news as well. Wowzers. But anyway, as I was saying, yes, Adam, he may be your chummy, but. It's not the point. Don't agree with it. Because it goes further. And when it goes further, people get hurt. And when it comes from an influencer, the message to the community, his community, that community, whatever your community is, guys, it's okay to do this. And it's not okay to do this. And influencers need to be a bit more careful. So it's off. How you doing? Ooh. So yeah, that's why I sort of look at that video. I don't. It's everybody rages. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to make out that I'm an angel or everybody's an angel. We all rage. Every single one of us does to an extent. We all get toxic to an extent. Of course we do. I say many times, this game has the ability to make you laugh, make you cry. It has the ability to give you all manner of emotions in a very short space of time, namely less than 7 minutes, to be fair. But there are levels to which that goes, and generally, if you're sat at home and you're not a influencer on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, and you're shouting at your iPad or laptop or whatever you're playing it on, then nobody's going to know. If you then start translating that into the typeface on your chat and you start being really nasty, then 9 times out of 10, it comes up as starred. If you try and use, conventional swear words, the chat won't let you do it. So you have to think of new and novel ways of doing it. And it gets to the point where you think, well, hang on a minute. When are you now taking the level of abuse more seriously than you're taking the game? Because honestly, guys, most of the people I see abusing in the chat, if they spent half the time learning how to play the game rather than learning new ways to say swear words in a way that defeats the chat ban thing, the algorithm in chat, then they'd probably be better not needing to abuse anybody. But hey, what can you do? But what I saw yesterday just took it to a new level. It was funny though, to an extent, and I'm not saying, you know, I looked at it and went shop whore and everything. What was funny is the person he was abusing was actually a pro player. That's just bittersweet irony.
I just got in. What is going on?
No, it was a video it was a stream that somebody did yesterday, and Vention said something in that stream which caused that particular person to really rage. And you know, you name it, homophobic, racist, everything was bundled up, thrown in there, and thrown all in the space of like 30 seconds towards Ventium. And one of the things that was said was, I'm going to check your stats out, and I'm going to prove that you're a clown to everybody. I'm going to destroy you. Clearly not knowing that Ventium was a pro. which is quite funny, to be fair. So that's what happened. But seriously though, on a more serious side, everybody does toxicity. Everybody, you know, even the sweetie, cleanest cut of us does toxicity in some order. You know, even if the most innocuous of insults, like "you are a muppet," is still an insult. So don't think I'm sat here saying that, you know, everybody's got to be, you know, fun-loving, sweet, cuddly,
I
care bears.
really don't believe in that. Like, my friends can insult me like with the most disgraceful words, and I would take that as a compliment. It's all about the tone.
It's about the tone. It's about the context. You're right. I mean, when you don't get me wrong. I mean, my best friend phoned me from the UK yesterday, and I think I spent an hour just abusing each other. But we know each other, and in the game, generally, you don't know the person you're abusing, and you have no idea who they are. Now, calling somebody a muppet or something, or something innocuous is probably, or a noob is probably, it's not okay, but it's probably acceptable. Going around saying that I'm going to do, you know, intimate things with your mother, or you need to go and kill yourself, or things of that description, well, that's another level, to be honest with you. And you don't know how that other person's going to take it. And it may actually, I mean, I know people who take things to heart in this game. I mean, there are people with less than sunny dispositions, let's say, who would get deeply offended at such abuse. You just never know.
I don't know if I should post. I don't know if I should post this. Like, I have 3 dead mouses, and I have like 2 keyboards that are broken because of this game.
Well, there you go. You see,
I have a scratch on my wall.
Yeah, but that's what you do in the sanctuary of your own home. I mean, with your broken keyboards, I no doubt it was very difficult for you to type into the chat. You're all going to die, to be honest with you. So, you know, it's how you do it, how you take it. Like I said, whatever you do in the sanctuary of your own home is completely up to you. If you want to rage at your cat because your cat happens to be there, because you're having a frustrating day in Blitz, then you go for it, mate. But when you then translate that into the game and tell people to go and die from a horrendous disease or something, or you're going to do, you know, nasty sexual things that are criminal in every aspect of every country to your mother or sister, then yeah, I mean, you know, these are different levels of abuse, to be honest with you. Привет. Как дела? Я плохо говорю по-русски, английский, пожалуйста. So that's the limit of my Russian there, guys. Sorry, Gaming Tanker. That was never my intention, to be honest with you. And you know, just to be from my side. I mean, I very rarely venture into the territory of calling out other YouTubers unless they've done something which I think is damaging to the game. And then I won't generally call them out in a nasty way. I won't go out there and tell people to unsubscribe to them or hate on them or stuff like that. I will just generally tell people that it's the wrong message, they're going about it the wrong way, and they need to change. But that's normally what I would do. And that's normally what I do. And in fairness, I've reached out to this particular YouTuber, thinking that we could point him in the right direction. And the live stream degenerated. I hold nothing personally against him. I mean, if he wants to go and do what he wants to do, that's up to him. It's none of my concern if his channel's successful or not. I don't really give two hoots about his channel. Like I don't give two hoots about anybody's channel. I wish all the YouTubers success, to be honest with you. But on the same token, I don't agree that you should build a community based on hate. I just don't think you should do that. Because that transcribes eventually into the game, and it's just it. That's just the way I feel, and I don't know why OBS is going on an encoding issue at the moment, but it really, really is, and I don't know why. Sorry, I don't know why that's doing that. It just keeps having encoding issues every 2 seconds or so for some reason, every 20 seconds or so for some reason. But the FPS is good, but the game is struggling. But that's the game server, and I know that, so I don't know. I do play on Asia server as well, Art, because it's not my main server. EU is my main server, to be perfectly honest with you. So yeah, but I do play on Asia, and I also play on NA. So, and hi Milos, how are you doing? So yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, like I said, Lockney, none of us are squeaky clean when it comes to toxicity. None of us really. And it would be wrong for us to say, yes, we are. Because we're not. I mean, if anybody watches my streams, then yeah, I mean, I call people morons and I call people muppets. But I also turn around and say, oh, well, they've generally played to the level of their ability, because you just have to do that. I mean, it's like somebody pointed out in my video today that, should I now rip into Panterflea for his latest video? And I said, well, no, because what I saw on Panterflea's video, his recent video that is he's just, what I can see, responding back to somebody who started to abuse him. And whilst two wrongs don't make a right, because of course they don't, he's not doing it with the intention of hurting that person. He's doing it with the intention of saying, look, if you're a new player, and you've got a relatively low win rate, don't go around abusing people because you don't know who you're abusing, was the way I saw that video. So yeah. Any tips are to lower the ping and loss in the game? Well, firstly, get better Wi-Fi. But secondly, more importantly, turn your graphics down. If you turn your graphics down on your whatever device you're working on, then that will hopefully stabilize your game a little bit. So there you go.
Test 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Indeed, yes we can. And you're going out, so everybody can hear you.
Good. My VPN is working, but yes. I cannot freaking donate. Why? I need to donate, but I can't.
Yeah, that happened to me. So I had to basically donate directly to Roland because my VPN was the same, mate. It wouldn't let me donate.
Like, I want to donate.
So what I did, I sent a message to them saying, it's not that I don't want to donate, I can't donate, and then Roland came up with a suggestion. I thought I could do it, but
it used to be.
Well, I thought I could do it. It
used to be I could block from my region, I VPN, and I can donate, but now nope, I can't.
Yeah, I used to think I could, and if I changed it onto VPN, I thought I could get round it, but I couldn't. I tried it this morning, so I had a message this morning saying I'm not allowed to donate from UAE. So I dropped Rolling a note in his Discord saying, I've got Houston, we have a problem, and I said I'll try sticking the VPN on to see if that worked, and the VPN didn't work. So Rolling came up with a suggestion which did eventually work. So that was good.
No, the thing is, it's used to work. I used it before. I donated to another channel, to your channel maybe, but now it's not working anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if they've changed the parameters or whatever. I'm not sure, but yeah, I've been able to donate before. To be honest with you, I donated to because obviously I donated to remember the Oscar thing, which Ian Ann's Destroyer was doing.
Yeah.
I donated to that. I donated to Every Good Name Is Taken. So yeah, I've been able to donate previously in the past. So I don't know why I wasn't allowed this time. To be honest.
They've been changing a lot of things on YouTube, though.
Amunet!
Oh, hello!
Hello!
Amunet is now here. Woohoo! Yeah.
I snuck in.
They have. So.
I want to donate more.
Yeah, it took me by surprise, to be fair, Lockney, this morning, because I thought, oh yeah, straightforward, just donate. Done it before, it's happened before, and then I just got this message saying, computer says no, basically. But there will be a workaround. I mean, Rolling found one for me, no doubt he'll find one for you. Just drop him a DM.
Yeah, if you're having issues for whatever reason putting into the prize pool link, just contact me directly on Discord. Is probably the best way to go, and then we can take it from there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what worked with me, and it worked for a few others. Rolling told me he's had to do it for a couple of others as well, not just me. So
I don't know.
They've changed rules somewhere.
Well, very nice.
Eric, thank you, Vermilio. That's Eric, and Team Trouble as well. Oh, I'm not seeing all of these. Team Trouble Team Trouble can donate. So there you go. Look, but that's donating to me. I'm not running the competition. I'm streaming it. But thank you anyway, Team Trouble. It's not that I'm taking it for granted, because of course I'm not in the slightest, my friend. Never in a million years. But very, very thank you as per usual. So yeah, just drop him a DM, Lockney, and Rolling will sort you out.
Whoa, very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Something is going wrong somewhere with Stream Elements or Streamlabs, and I don't know what it is. It's very strange. It's very strange.
Hello, Darren.
Hello. Oops. How's it going, mate?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, been good. Is Vale taking part in the community tournament? That's the thing.
Yes. Sadly. No, just kidding.
So there you go. That's one of the teams taking part. I know some others are. I mean, clearly Akfa are taking part because Zerd is one of the organisers. Imor is taking part. Karna's taking part. So we know some of the big teams are there. It is going to be good.
Serenity.
Yes.
But our team, the Ville team, is not going to be the Ville team that played in
Well, most of the teams aren't going to be the teams that played in the recent tour. I mean, Jory's gone to Akfa. Damn you, Jory! Damn you to hell!
Yeah.
Sorry.
Or should I say, damn you, Zerd! Damn you, Zerd, for stealing and poaching.
Yeah, you should blame him.
Yeah, let's blame Zerd. Zerd's not here in the chat. We can always blame Zerd. It's much easier that way. Sorry, Zerd. Don't mean it. But stop stealing our players, man. If you're going to steal anybody, steal Eric.
No.
Bully.
Sorry, Eric.
Fuck's sake.
Sorry, Eric. It just came out. I forgot. Don't say what you're thinking. You know I'm joking. I'm joking.
I'll just join Rackham real quick, guys. Top 18.
No.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be good fun, and I'm so chuffed that they've got over a K. And we were talking, earlier about your Prezi. That was good to Rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, what?
We were chatting about that, so saying you were showing us the progress you were making. It was so chuffed, and Rolling was like, it turned up perfectly, undamaged in Fantastico. That's so good to hear.
Oh god, I was so nervous about that. I've never sent one of those over the mail, and I was just so afraid that it would just not arrive.
Yeah. Especially. I mean, okay, he's in Malta, but if you know, I've had trouble with posts coming from Europe to me, and I'm not that much further from Malta really, where it sort of gets lost in the ether, especially due to COVID. I mean, there's lots of different things. I mean, I had a delivery 2 days ago from the UK that I ordered 6 months ago.
Oh my god!
I'd forgotten about it.
I would not survive that, really.
Well, some guy knocked on the door and I went, "Who are you?" And he said, "Delivery." So I haven't ordered anything. And then I looked at it and I said, "God, I ordered this 6 months ago. I thought I'd been ripped off." So yeah, I'm impressed. It got there in the time that it did and got there in perfect condition. That's a good question, Art Books. I would say no. But that's just me. Let's put it to the people who are in the chat, who are in Discord. So Art Books is saying, should players stress over their win rate? That's a good question.
Yes, a
it's
lot.
a game. If you're stressing about it, you're doing it wrong.
There you go.
I think to expand on that, it's something that you should, from at least from a tournament perspective, if you're not already known on the scene, like trying to get your 30-day win rate and your average damage within like tiers, like an average tier of 8 to 10 as high as possible if you want to get onto a tournament team, like that's your foot in the door. And then of course, like, you still need to prove that you're a pretty good player in training and whatever to make the cut for a roster, like registering for one of these kind of seasonal major tournaments Wargaming and now doing every quarter. So, I mean, it depends on your definition of stress.
Yeah.
Like, should you use a loss streak as a justification for having like an inappropriate outburst? No.
No.
Should you use it as a tool to track your own progress and help you improve your game? And can you beat yourself up over it? Whatever process works for you to become a better player. Yeah, I'd say absolutely. But then I lean more to the more competitive side. Like if I have a really bad day on Blitz, like in terms like if my win rate is like goes below 50 for whatever reason, then I'm like, well, no, everything sucks. I'm, you know. So I'd say yeah, like you can use it as a tool.
But would you say that, you know, I mean, because a lot of people look at their win 8 on, say, Blitz stars, and would you say it's better to improve overall and get your stats up overall than, because win rate really is dependent upon not just you but also the team. I mean, there's been plenty of games that no doubt all of you have played where you've done, I don't know, say 6k damage in a tank and still lost.
Yeah, that's why average damage counts. Like your average damage matters. Also, whether you're in a platoon or not is a relevant factor to your win rate. But I mean, if you look at like the top level tournament players, I'm sure someone like maybe Jack, whilst one helper, could like do an analysis. I could get all of the top level tournament teams and show you those players, like their 30-day win rates and average damage. And there definitely you'll see like top players within the 30 days will have insanely good stats. And there's a huge jump between, like on average at tier 10, I'm putting out 2.7k damage, which is, it's pretty good. But the top tournament players are like 3k is considered a minimum average within 30 days within a tier 10. At least
close to 3k.
But like on the EU server. And I think the win 8, for example, less useful because it's more tank specific and what have you. I think win rate, it although like you say, you can have games where you play an obscenely good game but you lose because like you have like you don't have 6 humans on your team, you have like 6 animated potatoes kind of like thumbing the controls on their device, and But if you play enough games, like the teams in your favor or against you average out. It's about replicates. So if in a 30-day period you've played, say, 500 battles,
Yeah.
like that is, I think that kind of will reduce the skew, or like it'll average out good teams and bad teams on your side, or at least it should do.
No, absolutely. I mean, I've been playing, you know, in the streams recently. If you would have seen my last stream, not the Mad Game stream, then it looks like you're losing more than you think. My win rate for the last stream was 85%. So, you know, it just goes to show that whilst you may think you're on a losing streak, or whilst you may think you're losing more games than you think you are, sometimes you're not. And it's sometimes you're right. You've got to take it not over one or two games, but you've got to take it over a broad selection of games to see how your win rate is actually being effective. Because if you're generally improving and becoming a better player yourself, you're generally doing more to help your team win in the long term. And this is what a lot of people don't sort of see with, as you say, the pro players, the guys who sit on the pro teams. You know, if you roll out with them, they are generally doing a lot of damage. And by doing a lot of damage, and they're doing a lot of assistance damage as well, they're helping their team win. They may not be carrying the team as in they're getting all the kills, but they're generally doing something that makes the team win, which increases their chances of winning overall, which obviously increases their chances of their win rate going up. But, I mean, art book, you know, there's a line between stressing about your win rate and stressing about, am I getting better? And I always say to people, don't worry about your win rate at the moment, unless you are already at, say, 20,000 battles and you're at 65%, you want to get to 60, 70%, then it's a different thing, because that's different. But if you're new to the game and you're a newish player, then I would suggest that you don't stress about your win rate, you concentrate on improving in the game your skill level, and the win rate will come once you've improved, is what I would normally say.
Thing I want to interject there, though, is that with the pro players, of course, they focus on high stats and everything. I have seen people actually throwing games because they were so focused on getting the damage that they were not getting the kills, and they'd rather go for the full HP target than get a gun out of the way, and they've lost games because of that. And I still feel that that's a silly thing to do. I get it up to a level, but because they will get more win and 8 if they WN8 if they get more damage than if they actually win. And for me, win rate, it doesn't, basically it's all about how you feel a game is gone. If you feel that the game is good, it's generally good. If you feel that the game is bad, it's generally bad for you, regardless of whether you win or lose. But you should never stress about it. Of course, by all means, strive and try to get better, but don't stress about it.
No.
I would say though, I mean, because there can be instances. It depends what tank you're in. Like if I'm in a 183, I would rather take 900 hit points away from a target and clear like a sub 100 hit point tank.
The difference is that you will know the difference between taking the damage and giving away the game, because you will still take the low HP kill if it means that you're securing the victory more. I want to believe that, actually.
Oh no, I would if I, yeah, that's true. I always try and play for the
specific people that are literally throwing away their game for the damage.
I can see an example in that, like an autoloader on your team. Like instead of shooting 2 targets, like on 1 shot each, is like clipping a full HP E100.
Exactly.
Like, dude, there's 2 targets. You can boom, boom. We're winning the game, and you're just like going for the damage, and we lost the game. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Like,
That's the kind of
imagine.
I'm referring to.
I get in that because I'm in a VT. I'm right behind that AMX 50. I'm like, okay, sure, he's going to kill. I'm like peeking because I know like I can shoot the E100, and I'm surprised there are 3 guys alive for some reason. That's why when going for damage is like losing you the game.
But it depends what level you're at, and with respect, Artbook, I don't know what level you're at. I mean, are you somebody who's looking to get into the pro scene? Because if you are, then, as Rolling says, then stats and your overall stats become vitally important. Because if the teams don't know you, then they don't know how to gauge you. The only way they know how to do that is by your stats. If you're not looking at this moment in time, if, like I said, if you're a relatively newish player or you're just trying to improve and you feel that there's a lot of pressure being put on you because maybe you've got a low win rate, and I don't say that derogatory, by the way, because a lot of you don't realise, but the average win rate in Blitz is about 47-48%. So anybody above 48% is above average. Okay, so it's not true to say that everybody's got 60% win rates, because it's just not the case. The average is 47-48, and if you're around this figure, then I would say don't focus on your win rate. Focus on getting better at the game. Learn the maps. Learn how to use the mini map. Get to know the tanks you're playing in, what their weaknesses are, etc., etc., and then eventually your win rate will go up. It will go up.
I think because and it's interesting because I've been lucky enough to kind of sit in lots of different tournament clans across the years, and like typically I get like the little in-game deputy sticker slapped on my account so you can see all of the people applying. And I think I've had that in Legion, R2K, Eros, and things in the past. Those clans will have anywhere upwards from 20 different applicants per day saying, hey, and that's why all of these clans say invite only.
Yes.
Because the amount of people that approach them that say like, hey, I'm really good, I'm 60-something%, and then you check the average damage and it's like 1,500. They're still a great player. It's like, but you're not 60% at tier 10, and even if you were at 60% at tier 10, that's still not good enough. Like the requirements on the clans that list requirements, and typically that might be on their Discord, or I mean less clans are doing it now, but that's like until you're like, if you're looking at a top 10 clan, until you're kind of doing upwards of 2.5k damage on average at tier 10, you need to have a reality check and look further down the listings. And now on the EU server in particular, like the top 32 clans, they're all really good. Like it used to be a couple of years ago, once you got outside of the top 16, it could have been anyone's game, basically.
Yeah.
Now you've got like clans like, and this might be to do with the seeding system, whatever else, but you've got really good clans like Raid in the top 16. Like the breadth, the number of amazing teams and players that are now in tournaments on the EU server relative to the size of the server is crazy. So like, you need to I think that this ties in general with people like looking at, because it's very easy to assess other people's ability, but it's very difficult to kind of have like a very real conversation with yourself about like how good.
Totally. And you're right.
Roy, you just brought something to my mind. Like in other games, how they have roles for each player, like attack, support, defense. Like in the game, we have different types, classes. So if a player is a really, really good at heavies, maybe, but he's like not that good at a medium,
that's yeah, for sure. Like definitely, when I was kind of on.
What I mean is, are we on the point where, like, making a team, would you consider a player that can play very good heavy, and you don't need him to play anything else?
That's been done for like years now. I mean, and I typically like your heavy players are people that are better at reading the map, that know how to angle those tanks very well and die very slowly. Like those are your people that are exceptionally good team players and communicators. And like the top teams have been doing that for a long time, like putting callers in a heavy role, putting the less mechanically skilled, and you'll see this when you watch like the next spring season or whatever. You'll see the same players going into the light tank or the medium tank role. And when you look at the stats like for example, of Endgame or Aqua, it's the players with like the I mean, it's kind of inferential, but when you're looking at those players' stats from random battles, they're the ones with the super unicum, like the purple win rates and the obscenely high average damage numbers. At top level tournament gameplay, like the medium and light tank role is all about mechanical skill. It's the speed at which you can aim and your decision making process on the move. There's already like a differentiation. There are players which are like, you need to have like a somewhat deep roster of tanks, tier 10 tanks in your garage to allow your team flexibility, tactical flexibility, or like to account for a changing meta. But there's definitely already players that are like a heavy main or a TD main, like Object 3. You see him in the 268 any time the 268 can be taken. That's because he's really good in that tank. And so, like, okay, for example, maybe your win rate isn't like obscenely good on average, but if you have the stats in a particular tank and you can present that information and you can get someone to take notice of you, say like you're, I don't know, it's unlikely, but say you're a 55% win rate player, but you're 70% in an IS4 or a mouse, for example. Like you're just, for whatever reason, like you're a god in that particular tank. Like you might be able to get into a better team, but you have to, it requires a lot of communication and probably persistence.
Yeah. Well, Artbooks has come back and he says at this stage he's not after being a pro. He just wants to know if he's getting better. So at the moment he just looks at his win rate and he's currently sat at 49.71%. Well, you're already above average, to be fair, Artbook. So what you need to do is, as I said, don't get overly infatuated with your win rate. Be more focused on, well, playing the tanks, to be fair, and getting to know the game.
Learning the basics.
Yeah, basically. And then the win rate will come, and that's how you're going to truly gauge if you're going to get better. I'll give you an example. There's a guy who I know who's in the clan BPS, and his name is Foxy. And when he hit, I think it was 15,000 battles, he was at 46% or thereabouts win rates. The guy is now touching 70%, and he's in a pro clan and a pro player. So the win rate will come eventually, but he took time to learn the mechanics of the tanks and the mechanics of the game and the basics. And you heard Rolling Swarm say there about side scraping. And this is the thing. I mean, it's learning the mechanics of the game, the things like going hull down, what tanks are good at that, wiggling and jiggling, angling your tanks, and playing the tanks that you're comfortable in. I mean, you may not, for example, have the ping for a light tank player, or you may not have the reactions for a light tank player. You may be more suited as a heavy or TD tank player. And as Rolling was discussing there are different players for different classes of tanks. You could be fantastic in a mouse, but absolutely horrendous in a Vickers, for example. So find the tank that you are most comfortable in, and work on being, refining your skills on that particular tank. So you generally find that it then becomes a lot easier to translate that skill to the next heavy tank or light tank or medium tank or whatever. Also, the other thing that I did, and I think Jory's still in the chat, there are plenty of actual pros now who do streams. There's Object 3, who we just talked about, he does streams and videos. Juicy Tender Steak, his Royal Fatness, etc., etc. There are people like that who do these things. They're pros. You won't be able to emulate their skill, but you'll be able to take the tips that they use. And I've rolled out with Jory, who's a pro player, and he gave me some invaluable tips on playing the T62A. And I was absolutely awful in that tank, and now I absolutely adore it and love it. And the same with the WZ113. So don't be scared to watch these guys' streams and ask them questions, because they will answer you. That's what they're there for. I mean, Juicy Tender Steak, Object 3, they will get back to you in the chat eventually. It may not be immediate, but just ask them questions. And one of the things Jory taught me in the T62 is do more tracking shots, because the T62A is great for doing tracking shots, especially on an E100. And okay, Jory's a farmer anyway, so he farms damage. But if you then go and look at some of look at some of the YouTubers' replay videos. I mean, I play replay videos on the streams and stuff like that. Meaty plays a lot of replay videos. He does a lot of content in that respect, and a lot of YouTubers do. And if you have a look at some of the replays when these guys are playing these upper tier tanks, especially if they're pros, then you will see they're doing a lot of damage shots, like tracking shots, you know, perma tracking tanks, etc., etc. And it's these little tips that these pros use that get their damage up, oddly enough. And it also gets their assistance damage up, and it also gets the XP up, which increases your ability over the game. So it's little nuances like that help you, funnily enough. And then once you've got those, trust me, your win rate will go up. It really will. But that's just my view. I mean, other people may have a different view. I don't know. Or maybe they won't have a different view.
No, I hardly agree. I mean, it's literally that. Learn the basics and everything else will follow. Get better at the basics and it will get better again.
Yeah.
I still see it as every game that I play, I learn.
Mm-hmm.
I learn what I'm doing right. I learn what I'm doing wrong. It's also keeping me from blaming the potatoes because, yes, of course I can get frustrated at the potatoes, but at the same time I can't expect the same thing from a 40% that I would from a 60%.
Yes, and that's one thing you've taught me.
I don't
Thank you
blame
very
the
much for
potatoes.
that. Yeah, and that, like I said, that's one thing. No, seriously, it's one thing you've taught me because now, instead of raging on them or saying they're useless, I look at them and say, yes, they play to their ability, and they play to their skill level. Because they are playing to their, and as long as if they're playing to their ability and their skill level, then you can't rage on them, because they're at least they're trying, and that's the thing. And that's
You
one thing
can
I've
lament that they're on your team, I think. But
Yes.
you can't rage at them.
That's
Exactly.
That's exactly the point. And to be honest with you, and Aminet did teach me that because I do watch you playing, and I do see you make comments like that, and that taught me to chill out. And when I now do the streams, I look at the players on my team who I think played particularly poor, and they may have low battle counts or low win rates, and I then turn around and say, well, what did you expect? They play to the level of their ability. It's not their fault at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Not everybody is blessed with ability.
Counter argument. You have 3 TDs, 3 heavies, and 1 light tank or medium tank in your team, and that's the potato. In the enemy team, you have 2 pro players on their mediums. Okay, that's not cool. Matchmaking screwed you up.
And that's matchmaking.
No
Yeah,
way of winning.
But that's
well,
matchmaking.
what I like to say, what is like what Omnet said. You know, you try to learn from your experiences, your gameplay, and whether it's good or bad or whatever, right? But the fact of the matter is you're just not going to be able to carry every game, right?
Correct.
And so in that instance, I have to take a step back, and what I've been having to do lately is I remind myself that even the top players in the game, even the 80%ers, right? They lose 2 out of 10, right? The good players, they lose on average 4 out of 10, right? By their statistics, okay? So I have to remind myself that, oh, well, that was just one of those 4 games, or that was one of those 2 games, or whatever your ratio is.
Exactly.
It was just one of the lost categories, and then, okay, let's move on to the next one. And
That's
so
a really-
maybe the next game will be, in the plus category.
That's a really good point, and I think if you've ever played in a tournament team, like it's the rage dialed up to 10 because everyone knows everyone else, and you're all in a voice chat on Discord with each other. And like I've been lucky enough to play alongside some really, really great players, and like the amount of salt and rage and toxicity like between friends is incredible.
Yeah.
And I think what Fugit said is like you've got to recognize when someone's playing to their ability. It's a really good reminder. Because I've been in teams like as a reserve or whatever, where I've been like decidedly one of the weaker players, and I've had people like have a go at me and go, "Oh my God, Rolling, how did you do?" I'm like, "I did my best." But you're coming up against people who are really, really good, in the semifinals of a group, and you're like, "Well, I did my best, but there was no way I was going to outtrade like Winch or someone in a ridge fight. Like, forget it. He had me before we even kicked off." So. It's definitely as angry as I can be at like a 40% player with 5,000 battles who's choked in a one-on-one brawl that they should have won. Like I've got to remind myself sometimes that there are like players much better than me that would be watching me play like they've died early, whatever they got 3-on-1, and they're now in spectator mode watching me like in their mind potato around. I think I'm doing great. You know, I'm holding my own. And thinking, oh my god,
True.
Yeah,
it's true. And like I platoon a lot with Blackstar, who's 70-something%, and he messages me on Discord going, "I can't believe you threw that game," and I'm like, "I did everything I could."
yeah.
You know.
No,
But exactly
Not good
that.
enough.
no. I mean, go on.
It's just exactly that. You can't expect people to play better than they can, and that's why for like me, I'm at 67-something%. I can get very frustrated at potatoes, exactly as you're describing it, throwing games. The thing is that they're trying their hardest.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the reason why I can't rage at them. I will get toxic in my own way and extremely sarcastic with toxic people, but never at people for their inability to play the game.
Mm-hmm. But it's like Rolly, what you just said there. I mean, I've rolled out with the likes of Imor in Vale, and you know, I thought I've turned around and said I've done really well. I'm top damage, or I'm top this, and I've really no. They just felt sorry for you and focused everybody else. You do get that when you roll out with the top clans, because you think you're doing absolutely fantastically. Oh, I'm in a great position, and then you get someone like Jory saying, "No, that's a stupid position. What on earth are you thinking?" And that happened to me on Desert Sands one day. I put myself in a position that I thought was pretty good near the plane, and Jory said, "Are you off your head? That is probably the worst position ever." And I'm like, "Really? I'm getting good shots here." Yes, and they're going to wreck you. You are stupid, and yet you think you're doing good. It is. As you said, it's much better when you've got somebody who's a lot better than you to point you in that direction, because it's very difficult to be self-critical yourself. And I think that's a big thing. It is very difficult to be self-critical. I mean, deep down, we all think that we're pretty good at the game, or we forget that there are actually people who are a lot better than us. And you know, they are not backwards in coming forwards, the pros, in telling you your failings, which can be sometimes interesting, because you, as you say, Rolling, you sit there and go, "But no, I did the best I could. What are you talking about? I was great." No, you were not. So it is good in that respect. But I have another question that's come through, this time from a guy called Odelic. So hello, Odelic. He said, "I'm playing the game for a year. All my real life friends are casual players who don't care about stats. What should I do? Not play with them? Sacrifice my friendship over stats?" And I would say to that, are you crazy? You can do both. It's a game. It's there to be enjoyed, and enjoy it with your friends.
I have a recommendation on this front.
Go on.
Make a burner account that you play platoon games with your friends on.
There you go.
It sounds pretty bad, but it's a good compromise, because it means that you can protect the stats on your actual account, and it means that you can play like you have a reroll account, which you just play for fun. And I did this. Amona actually recommended this to me for something separate. It was when I upgraded my iPad and I had my muscle memory was all wrong, and I was going, "Oh no, this bad, this real bad." And actually, like making an account where you try and play your best, but you're less focused on the stats.
Yes.
It's a good way to transition between control modes. It's a good way to transition between devices. It's a good way to platoon with people that you like as people, but hate as teammates, because it takes the stress out of your mind.
That's
After with PC, I made a PC account because I can't play PC to save my life, and I wasn't going to try that on my main account.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm absolutely useless at PC. But that's great advice. I think that's great advice to those people who are worried about this.
The thing.
That's ideal.
Thing, but just to go make a new account and you play with your teams and you have better stats in this account, and now you're trying to make this account better than your main account, and you put 3-1 and you forget the password for the other two and the email address, and now you're, I don't know, hating yourself.
But we all know that's due to the newbie matchmaking, though.
Yeah, but no, I think it's still good advice. I mean, you know, I've got 2 accounts. I mean, Wargaming blessed me with a press account, so I could go out with subscribers and stuff. But I just don't bother. I use my main account, that way everybody can see how much of a nab I am, and I enjoy it. But for people who are really concerned about their stats, and then concerned that, well, I've got real life friends who I've been kicked out of the game by the looks of it. Eek. No, I haven't. Who are really concerned because their real life friends don't take it seriously, they're not interested, then I think that's good advice. You shouldn't sacrifice your friends for the game, I don't think. So Odelic says, yes, that is good advice. Thank you, Odelic. I'm glad we were able to answer that one. But I mean, don't forget, you can always roll out with them in the mad games and stuff like that, the fun game modes as well, which isn't going to impact your stats. And if your friends aren't interested and just play it for fun, then you'll probably have a great time playing in those game modes as well, to be honest with you. I mean, that's one of the good things that I think Wargaming... As I said, not everybody's going to like the fun game modes, but one good thing about them is you can then roll out with your real life friends who only are fair weather players, who just jump in every now and then, and you can do all the things that you wouldn't normally do, like YOLO like a fool in all that sort of stuff, and have fun at the same time doing it. So you can always do that.
To be fair,
yeah,
I would still not do that, because I feel that going into a battle to basically just YOLO is effectively rigging the game. And I just like the HE only challenges that people sometimes do, or taking the wrong gun just for fun. I'm very much against that, because you're not just ruining your game, you're ruining the game of 5 to 6 other players.
Yeah, but I mean, I did that yesterday, but only in mad games. I'd never do it in normal battles.
Games, I'm still against that, but I'm a little bit less against it, so to speak. I still would never do that. I play the game modes seriously, which is probably my own mistake, but I don't enjoy... I play this game for basically the tactical stuff. And I'm not interested in derpy, basically.
Well, that was probably why I didn't like gravity mode in the beginning, among other things. And I think, particularly Uprising, where tanks respawn and the abilities are random, and even mad games where someone can go invisible, completely unspotted, and then ram you from behind for all of your hit points. It seems to happen to me quite a lot over the last couple of days. It's one of those things where you think you have to kind of disconnect yourself from the this preconditioned tactical balance that we have. And I can understand, I do find it frustrating in my games when someone does something like they put on the super speed boost and YOLO themselves into the side of a cliff going for the next Darwin Awards. I'm like, okay, that was fun for you, but now I'm a tank down and this game's going to suck for me. But at the same time, it's it might be on me coming into mad games to expect anything like sanity from anyone. Some of the best moments in mad games are when something truly spectacularly stupid happens and everyone can go, oh my god, LOL. And the chat is and I have that quite a lot, particularly against players that I know.
Yeah.
They'll hunt me down and we'll trade off. One of them will pin you against the wall and you end up in the T49, you kill them, but your HE splash kills you as well. It's different moments, and I think maybe we have to kind of change our mindsets.
I mean, I did
to fit the game.
I did sort of YOLO ram and then sit on a Ho-Ri in a T34-3 yesterday for all his HP, which was funny. And then I died instantly afterwards, but it was worth it to just watch this Ho-Ri lose all his hit points. But you're right. It's difficult to separate your brain. Because if you do take the game seriously, and we all take the game seriously, we're in the normal mode. We all strive to improve. We all strive to get better tactics and to be smarter at playing the game overall. And I mean that's why we love the game, because we're trying to play better ourselves, and then trying to detach yourself from that mentality into. I mean, as the pub landlord states, it's the title is a dead giveaway. It's mad games. It's meant to be crazy. But it is difficult to detach yourself from that and to not play seriously. And I get that. I really do. I mean, when I first played Mad Games, and I still don't particularly like Mad Games for the very reasons that we're talking, and I don't particularly, and I didn't particularly like Gravity when it first came out, but then just realised, well, the idea is to float around in RAM stuff. Then I sort of got into my head that it doesn't really matter. Uprising's the same. I mean, when you go around thinking that, my aim in Uprising is to obviously do as much heal damage as you possibly can, or try and get to that golden 16,000 damage. But you're right, it is difficult to separate that mentality. And it's not easy.
I don't want to separate that though.
Yeah.
I play this game to be technical, whatever mode it is in. I will play the game modes as seriously as I do the rest of the game. I will still have fun with it, but I will still not YOLO. I will not jump off cliffs. I will not ram a mouse in my back chat.
Oh, no, I've not done any of those, thankfully.
No, but it's just like giving a few examples of basically rigging the game and thinking that it's okay just because it's a fun mode. It's still not okay because you're still basically, I said, rigging the game. Even if it's a game mode, even if it doesn't affect your stats, then technically speaking, you could say that it's fine to do that in ratings as well. Because it doesn't technically affect your stats either.
No, that's a good point you make, because you're forgetting that there are other players on the teams who could be playing it seriously, who could be wanting to do the things that you're saying, and you're right. I mean, and as I said in my recent video, sometimes we're very selfish and we don't take into consideration other people. And that's not just with the toxicity, that's with lots of things. It's like when you roll out in ratings because you're grinding a new tank. There are people who are doing ratings because they seriously do want to be better. And, you're not considering their aim of ratings because you're only considering your aim of ratings, which is, I need to grind a tank and I don't want to ruin my normal stats. So it's a good point. It is a good point you make. It is a good point you make, and I hadn't thought of it that way. So thank you for pointing me in that direction. No, seriously.
But to be fair, if you want to use ratings to grind, I mean, I don't grind. I just free XP, but that's a different thing. But I mean, I can still get behind it if you at least actually try to win and do your best. That for me is the difference. As long as you're trying your best and you want to. You want to win, you want to work for it, then by all means, drive whatever you want, whatever state it is in. It's mainly the complete YOLO, let's just pretend this isn't, well, we're not here to win, we're just here to derp.
Yeah.
That's the part that I have a problem with.
And like I said, it's a good point because, as I said, there will be people who are taking it with a different mental attitude to you. And if you're going in, ratings is a prime example. If you're going into ratings with the ambition to, you're not interested in ratings, you're just there because you're grinding a tank and you're not interested in, anything other than playing it super aggressively. For whatever reason, which you wouldn't normally do in a normal game mode, you'd be a little bit more passive, a little bit more tentative in a new tank, then you are doing a disservice to the people that you're playing ratings with, especially those on your team. If you're going in to grind properly, then that's a different kettle of fish. And I hadn't really thought about bringing that into the silly game modes as well, whereby you could be spoiling it for others. That's a good point you make.
To be fair, I have no expectations as to this not being a part of the game, because there's way too many players that play like that.
Unfortunately, yes, there are.
But for me, that is exactly why I do not play the fun modes. I will play Uprising because, and this, I'm not saying this to sound arrogant because I know I'm noob, but I mean, I will be able to get the skills up as much that I can actually influence the battle despite a potato ruining the game by YOLOing.
Yeah.
But that's basically it. And I like Gravity because it's fairly normal. And your lights will YOLO as much as theirs, and you can shoot them out of the sky quite literally. But overall, the fun game modes are not for me exactly for that YOLO aspect in it.
Well, Gaming Tanker again makes a good point. He says basically everybody needs to stop being relatively selfish in battles. Try to support your team and try to take into consideration why your teammates are playing the way they are, whether it's for fun or for... It's a good point. And, when I was doing that video earlier about toxicity, I'd always had this in the back of my mind that, you know, we generally approach the game as individuals, and it's not a team of 7, it's a team of 7 individuals basically thrown together, which is true, it is. But we then, I mean, I played a game the other week, and it was just random battles, and I was a 2-shot, I think, and some guy on my team came in, and I didn't expect it. I mean, it's happened previously, and I've done it myself to others, but I didn't expect it in a random game in a mid tier. I think it was tier 6 or tier 7. I can't remember. He came in and basically shielded me, and I mean that took me by surprise. And I was streaming. It was, and I was streaming a game the other week where a TVP, the tier 9 Skoda 50 T50, sorry, or whatever it is. I can't remember the name. We were in a tier 10 game, and there was an IS7, and we'd all died, and there was only 2 left on our team. The one was the tier 9 new Czech tank, and the other one was an E5 on our team against an IS7 that was full of HP. And I was streaming this. It was a game I was in, and you know, we'd already done particularly well, and we were on Middelburg. We were at the very top near the sea cap, and the Skoda couldn't pen the IS7. And the E5 was a 1-shot. So what the Skoda driver did was just put himself right in the front of the IS7, so he couldn't get any shots on the E5 at all. And, you know, initially I thought, well, why is he doing that? Why is the IS7 not shooting him, and etc., etc. And then it dawned on me what he was doing. It wasn't his platoon mate. I don't think he knew him. He was just doing it to protect him so they could win the game. And this is...
That's very clever.
It is very clever. And it's very rare that we have that nowadays, which is a shame. Because that is what you should be doing. You should be looking after each other's backs. And that's one of the reasons why I do like burning games. Because burning games sort of forces you to do that by going around regenerating people. And if more people approach the game, especially the newer players, and not just the newer players, if more people generally approach the game and think, well, look, the only way we're going to realistically win this game is either A, we have got more guns on the battlefield at the end than they have, or B, we've got more caps than they've got. So if you can keep your guns on the battlefield, and if that means you can help them stay alive, then it's half the battle, guys. And that's the thing. But sometimes we don't approach it that way. Sometimes we are approaching it from the selfish viewpoint. I want more damage. I want more kills. I want me, and then we start losing, and then because we start losing, then we turn around and say, the guy who YOLOs in the first 30 seconds and dies, you didn't support me, where were you all, why did you leave me behind? And you do get a lot of that, so it is a good point.
Okay, but there's also a counterpoint, like if you are a medium player or a light tank player, okay, by the time it takes you to like almost the enemy side, spotting all the reds, and your TD still didn't leave spawn, that's unacceptable. Like, you feel betrayed. Like, I'm spotting for you, and then I'm left to be dead. Like, that's... What did I do wrong? I am in this position, spotting everyone, but no one in my team is shooting them. And they said, oh, nobody's shooting us. We can push that idiot in the other side, and I get killed. So, because in the first 30 seconds, you didn't... What is it? The general plan of the game is like mediums and light spot, TDs shoot, and heavies heavy. Do whatever they do. So, if I'm doing my part and you're not doing yours, excuse me, I'm gonna be selfish, and next time I can understand why I can see that there's an E50M by my grille. So that's what generally ruins the game for general tactics.
One moment, because Shocker Lady just jumped in, but Shock, you already with the greatest of respect, you're at a different level of the game, mate. We're talking mere mortals. We're not talking your level here. So I understand where you're coming from, because it's a different kettle of fish. And yeah, I understand that, you will shield your teammates and clanmates because sometimes you don't trust the level of the random players. And I get that in your level because you are one of the top of the game, so it's understandable to that extent. And chances are you're probably going out more often or not in a toon anyway, and you're doing the toon thing. But for us mere mortals who are not at your level, then sometimes we are at the same level as our teammates, and then we need to try and help each other to that extent.
I guarantee you that Shark is the type of player that is the one that he can figure out which of his teammates is the noob, and he can use his HP for his own HP. That's top play from my HP worth for our team more than yours because you are a noob. So I'm gonna use yours first. Before sacrificing any of mine.
Yeah.
Too much for the complex.
The chocolate here, I'm not nowhere near his level, but I know that I would not willingly sacrifice my own HP for a player I do not know.
No, I wouldn't either. But I'm not saying you'd have to sacrifice. But you have to try and help your team. I know, but maybe sacrificing HP is the wrong point. But what the guy in the Skoda was doing was clever gameplay because the IS-7 wasn't aiming for him, wasn't going to hit him. And all he was doing was just trying to allow the E5 to get into a position to put shots into the IS-7 because obviously he's going to do some good damage where he's going to bounce the IS-7. So, I'm not saying you're going to do that each and every time because you're not. And, if you're in a toon, you're always going to be more protective towards each other because you're toon mates, and the idea of toon mates is obviously to do that. And you will discover, especially when you're at levels of the game that you guys are at, you will sort of see from the opening movements who is worthy and who is not. So I do understand that. You're not going to sacrifice HP for somebody who's a complete and utter potato, as Rolling says, an animated potato who's just pounding various random keys on his iPad or whatever. And I understand that. But if you're in a situation whereby you've got all your HP left, and there's a grill on your team who's done really well, and he's a good player, you're going to help him out because you're going to want to win the game anyway as well. I think that was more I was trying to get to.
Then I would.
Yeah.
But generally, I wouldn't.
No, and I understand that because that's the way it works. And a lot of people, unfortunately, you will give them all the tips in the world, but they still won't listen to you. There's a lot of the times when I see good players giving good advice in the game chat, and people ignore it at their peril.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen plenty of videos along with the rest of us. I've seen plenty of videos where people have said, for example, let's take Port Bay as a prime example. If you're in a medium or light, and then you need to get over that river opposite the sea cap if you can to get those cross shots in, and people still don't do it.
To me, that's something I've had a few games where I didn't do that, but that's to do with team composition.
Yeah.
If you know the enemy outguns you there, you need to not be there because that would just mean that you get wrecked.
Well, which brings another important point, which I've made and stressed a lot in my earlier videos. You've got to read the team list of the enemy team. You've got to know what they've got. And I was in a game the other day with the gaming tanker. We were on dead rail. They were majority medium. They had 2 heavies. We knew if we were to rush the C cap, we were going to take them by surprise because all their mediums are going to go. The A cap. All their mediums were going to go to the C cap, and they did. And it wasn't a surprise that their heavies went to the A cap, and we were able to just absolutely annihilate them. But that didn't stop the majority of our team saying, no, we're all going to C, because that's where the mediums are. And, because they're not reading the teams. They're not reading it. Tank starts in this direction, go where direction of tank is some of the newer players' view.
Could it be that they failed elementary math and they can do simple math?
I don't think it's
Well,
that.
not-
I think it's.
Well, you just gotta apply it. You just gotta apply it to the game. There's always a barrier to apply maps into game. Like you could know how the game mechanics work, but you would have a hard time applying it to how your gameplay sometimes.
You guys are getting way too technical though. Like I think a lot of people forget to the average player, one, they either don't care or they just don't understand, you know, like half the player base doesn't even know what Blitz stars is. Okay.
True.
That is true. Yes.
So they just don't understand. Like they think that they're better players because this percentage might tell them so or whatever. But then when you go look their Blitzstar account, they're a green player, you know, and their stats aren't overwhelming. And it's I guess what I'm saying is there's just a general lack of knowledge in the player base, whereas they just don't understand. They don't. The information is not there. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, the information. Well, I mean, yeah, to an extent, sometimes the information is not there, but to another extent, the resources to get the information is there. I mean, there are plenty. Seriously, there are now plenty of YouTubers doing YouTube stuff on Blitz. There's so many Blitz YouTubers. It's difficult to count them all now, and I would say at least 50% have done something on something. And it always amazes me. I mean, seriously, if I were to say to people, okay, all of you in Discord, when you're about to go into the battle, how many of you don't look at the team list and try to predict where the enemy are going to go? All of you would look at me as if I've come from Mars, most likely, because most of you will look at that list because it is a strategic game. It's not a, let's just go here, point and shoot. It's trying to outfox and outwit your enemy. And sometimes you won't see that because you will see some of the better players rolling around like mad things in, say, a Vickers or a Leo, shooting anything that moves. But they've still got a plan behind their actions. They've still tried to outthink and outfox their opponents in trying to predict where their opponents are going to go. And I certainly know that from the pro teams and the pro players. I mean, I've played with plenty of pro players in my time and platooned with them. And they in VC, they will say, we're going here and you're going to go there because this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And if you watch just even the basics like Rolling Swarm, when he does his streams, he will call certain actions before those actions take place that the enemy team are going to do. And he can do that. And most of the pro players can do that, to be fair. And I think sometimes our failure is, and especially to newer players who want to improve, sometimes the failure is we take these hints from the game for granted. And two of the biggest tips and biggest hints that we get from the game is team composition at the start and the mini-map. Yeah. The mini-map is vital and people don't use it. Simple as that.
Yeah, the mini-map needs to be reworked because the mini-map is like absolute. It needs to be relative. Like, I need the mini-map to be relative to my position and my tank. I can't see if I am from the top looking down and my right is left and left is right, like I need to make a split-second decision. Sorry, that's not instinctive. Like, that's basically what it is. So they need to rework that mini-map. It could be way more helpful.
I don't like that idea though. I like how the mini-map is.
The mini-map right now works perfectly, at least for me. I'm known for sniper moding. My mini-map is basically my awareness of the situation around me. And for me, it works perfectly as is. But that's also because I know the maps differently in a different kind of way. That is why I generally only bump into corpses because they don't show up on the mini-map. But overall, the mini-map as it is shows me exactly where my enemy team is, where my own team is, and where they were last seen. I mean, it won't show the icon, but I will have seen it, so I know in which direction the tank was last seen. I'm afraid that if they start messing with the minimap, that they will royally screw up the game.
The one change I would like to see to the minimap, though, is I would like it to be constantly north. I always get messed up on certain maps, especially like in tournament where you swap spawn and stuff, and that kind of throws me off a little. unfortunately. But like, what it is the mini map. I lose orientation sometimes. Like if Aminet said, like if a target gets spotted and then they disappear, but then like maybe 15 seconds or 20 seconds later in the match, I'm trying to remember where they were or whatever. Like if the mini map was constantly north on rotation, for me that would be like so super great, because then the mini map would always make sense to me.
That's
I would
what I
just
mean.
look at it when it makes sense.
That's what I mean. The minimap right now, it's absolute. The minimap is static. Your position is like moving all over. What I mean is just add the option of my tank being the static op, and the whole map is rotating around as I'm looking. That way, it's more like if you play any driving game or racing games, I guarantee you cannot play a racing game with like an absolute map.
Yeah.
Just add the option. Don't just remove it. Just add it.
That could be tricky though, because basically you'd either have a revolving square, or they'd make the map round, and then you miss out on information from the map.
The only issue I see them adding this feature is that it will screw up the pinging system, the 9-grid pinging system.
Possibly, yes. I mean, it has implications, but probably one of the reasons they haven't done it is it's better to see a complete overview of the map rather than a rolling view. But one of the things I've always wondered is, in World of Tanks PC, I don't actually play World of Tanks PC, but I've seen it on plenty of videos. There's the 2 rings in their minimap, which is the spotting ring in your ring or something. There's like a ring of spot where it shows you your spotting range.
The
There are 3
spotting range.
I think.
That's view range and render range.
View range and render
No,
range.
the radar.
Yeah, it's like
And
a radar.
The
when you
radar.
got spotted by proxy.
So one of the things I've always wondered is why they don't add that in Blitz, because that would be useful, because people seriously don't understand spotting mechanics.
Minimap is too small.
Oh, okay. Is it? I don't know. Maybe, but
Yeah.
but there's
It's
a
a bit
lot.
too small for that many information.
Oh, okay. Because
Considering how many information you're cramping onto the other side of your HUD, cramping that much information in a small mini map like that, it's simply not worth it.
Well, fair enough. Because because people don't understand spotting mechanics.
On
They
PC
seriously
it
don't.
should be okay.
It's just distance and gun, and if you're moving
Yeah.
and stuff.
But
I mean, Blitzer is not really an issue of render range because there's no such thing.
No, correct.
Map is too small. But like, adding 1 ring and then try to explain what that is to a general player population.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. That's a good point, Maddox. Well made. Trying to get people.
What is this ring?
Yeah.
Can I eat this ring, man?
I mean, there's me saying it's difficult that people aren't reading the minimap and now you want to add a ring in there. I mean, what's this map?
This is my engagement ring. Can I actually eat this ring?
Yeah. We've just had another
Is it a
question.
donut?
We had another question. This one from Net4 Force, which is about tours, funnily enough, and he says, what needs to be done to take the competitive clan wars to a more serious professional level? And my answer to that is lots.
Sponsorship.
Lots. I mean, there's lots.
You also have to think about what's realistic.
Well,
Because the
I was
competitive
about
community
exactly. I was about to
is
just
very
put.
small.
I was about to just say this to you because Aminet puts this very succinctly a lot of the times. The competitive scene applies to 1% of the player base, and then I will go, Aminet, your turn.
No, but see, that is the main problem for Blitz. Mobile gaming is fleeting. People join this game not to play for hours a day. I mean, some people do, of course, but the general player will play a few games and then log off. They're not looking into training massively every day of the week and then having to play tournaments for as long as they have for very little rewards. At the same time, it makes sense that wargaming doesn't up the rewards tremendously because it's only a tiny fraction of the player base that's actually interested in this. And not just that, it's not just interested, it's also capable. Because you also have to be capable of performing at that level. And that's something that's very unlikely to be changing anytime soon because it's just, like I said, it's fleeting. Mobile gaming doesn't care about basically this level of investment.
Yeah.
Wargaming earns a lot more from the people that play just a few games and spend a few bucks than they do from competitive players.
But I mean, you also hit on a nerve there. I mean, we stream competitive tours, and I always keep saying this to the audience when we're streaming. You may think that what you're watching in some instances is like really bad gameplay. Believe me, it's not. It's just at that level, the smallest mistake is punished. And it looks like it's being punished by like 1 million times worse than it would be in normal gameplay. Because you're now playing, you're pitching players who are very, 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 very skilled at this game against each other. And to an extent, they can almost read what each other's going to do. It sometimes it looks like it's just a random game and they're not good players. They're not. And the reason I can say that is because I've played against some of these guys in quick tournaments and in training sessions. And you may think you're relatively good, or you've got a relatively good position or fast reflexes, and they annihilate you. They absolutely just annihilate you. And I mean, it's right. Not, a vast majority of the player base will never achieve this level of their gameplay. And that's not to be derogatory, because it's like all professional sports. It only caters for a small amount. Take professional football. There's, hundreds of footballers, but there are billions of people who want to be footballers, and the billions of people can't be footballers. Only a small few
Exactly.
can. And it's the same with Blitz. And one of the arguments is, well, there's a couple of ways you can make clan wars better. You need to get people in the community to buy into it more. And that's not saying they have to play it. It's buy into it. Support the streams, support the clans, do more things like that. But that's difficult to get people into, because it says it's Blitz and it's a mobile game, and we have fair weather players, and they don't care.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get this. So it's almost like a catch-22.
Yeah. Also,
do
just
things
pointing
to-
out to the people talking in the chat, Fizzy's #1 fan is actually Yoda.
Yes.
The Yoda that we had in our clan. And he changed his name, and now he's basically confused for Fizzy everywhere. And I feel for Fizzy, like the actual Fizzy.
Yeah, which is why I'm spamming his
not
replays at the moment. I'm spamming his replays.
Yeah,
that's why.
But this is Ivan. His name is not Fizzy.
No.
But yeah, with the competitive scene, it is small and it will never be big, because you have to be a super, super unicorn in order to participate at a level that will actually earn you money. And if you're a 55%er, you're never going to get into the top 8. And in that way, it also doesn't make sense for you to try. Yes, of course, if you like tournaments, by all means have tournaments and have fun with that.
Yes.
But you're never going to take it seriously at that level, because you will never reach that level.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. And when you're right. You can't sell people a false dream. So you can't say to people, look, doesn't matter what your skill level is, take part in tournaments, because it does matter. Because if you're not at the level of these guys who are in the top 4, let's leave it at just top 4 for the moment. Because whilst these guys may only look, if you go through the list of, say...
I somewhat disagree with that, though.
Well, hang on a moment. If you look at Endgame, most of their players are over 70%. And they're not over 70% after a few thousand battles. They're 70% after about a few tens of thousands of battles. And to maintain that percentage of win rate and damage, the damage as well that these guys churn out in the top tiers is obscene. It really is obscene. And to manage that on a day-to-day basis over a few years is not easy. I mean, anybody...
Well, if you play low tiers, it is.
Well, they don't. They play tier 10. And if you watch...
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Yeah,
no.
well, Object 3 plays Kenny Otsu.
See, this is where they get their arrogance, and this is where all this win rate stuff comes in, is because you guys pad their egos with this talk here, making them elitist when they're not. Okay? And
I'm not calling anyone elitist. The thing is that...
disagree with her. It's because, here's the thing. They put together a team. They put together a team and played a tournament and won a tournament as a team. Okay, now whether you can be a 40%er, a 30%er, a 50%er, whatever your percentile, 60, 80, I don't care the number. You get a group of people together and they practice and they try hard enough, regardless of their percentile, if they play together as a team and they accomplish the goal of winning a tournament, that's what makes them good players and a good tournament teams. So it's not to say that all because you don't have a 60 or 70% player, you're not going to be there. That's a bunch of crap. You can be a 50% player, 40% player, any percentage, 70, 80, I don't care. If you put your team together and you guys play as a team and try hard enough to, dedicate your time to the tournament play to win and be effective, then what else? Then what are you guys talking about?
Well, by all means, you can win a quick tournament. That's no issue.
Yeah.
But you will never. I will never convince me that a team of 55%ers will beat EG,
regardless
how good a team they might be.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you my experience. Let me just give you.
This is where it's a server thing, though, because you guys are a little arrogant on the EU, I must say, though, because. I can
name you a clan in any server you want with the same conditions.
Well, what I'm saying is,
guys, let me just give you my experience because with the greatest respect,
it's only because of win rate dominant. That's the issue.
No, guys, let me give you my experience because I am a solid 53% win rate player. Okay, I'm a 53% win rate player on my normal account on EU. It's my main account. I also happen to be in a pro clan. That also happened to get into the top 8 this year on the winter season. Now, we trained, and I trained with them. They trained every day. And there wasn't even a day off, and it was a minimum of 12 games every day with other clans at their level, and we did that every day. And you know what? We built camaraderie, we got strats down, we got that, and we still couldn't turn over the likes of Endgame. Not even close. And these are really good players who trained hard and threw everything at it. So I have to disagree. I have to disagree with you there because I've experienced it myself. In a QT, different kettle of fish. Totally agree with you there. You can bring a team together and you can roll out in QTs and you can play
You guys
well.
are misinterpreting what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is, okay, if you guys are gonna make it to whereas only the good players are to be expected to play at top level tournaments, right? And then basically you're just gonna have your own little pool constantly, and that's kind of what's happening here. But it's not gonna grow with the player base.
But that's
what
professional.
incentive is there? What incentive is there for a player to try to be better or to try to be in a good team or whatever? Then, if they're not going to be a 75% Unicom constantly and be picked up on the top team of the season,
but that's
what's the point then? That's why Clan Wars is dying, because Clan Wars
it's not though.
Well, okay, on EU maybe, but on other servers it's kind of dying. And the thing of
no. But the thing is,
I'm talking about for the average. It's not dying within your little cesspool. That's what I'm trying to say. Within your little Unicom pool of players of your little teams and all that. You might pick up a few more here and there, but there's going to be attrition. The few that come, there's going to be players that leave or that aren't as good or whatever. That's why these teams they jump ship. These players jump ship all the time. They never stay with the same teams. They're always moving here, moving there. It's just because they're trying to create their little thing. I guess, see, you're getting me on a tangent again. What I'm trying to say is the reason that there's not going to be a mass interest in Clan Wars for the average player base is just that. It's because you guys are saying that if you're average, you're not going to be these guys, so don't even try.
But no, that's not what we're saying. You're not listening to what we're saying if that's your assumption as to what we're saying. What we're saying that it makes sense that a 55%er is not going to put in the same level of gameplay and time and energy when they know that they're not going to be Twister champions. It's just not happening.
Because of win rate seeding, because a 55%
it's not
team
due to
doesn't
win
even
rate.
have a chance.
seen exactly what happens with the top 8 for 2 seasons now, where people abused the win rate system to get into the top 8, and they were brutally slaughtered by the teams that actually deserve to be there.
Okay, I mean that's fair enough. But what I'm trying to say is you have to make it attractive on all levels for it to grow, not just people that are select.
But you can't.
You're wanting your cake and you're wanting to eat it too. Is the problem.
You can't give a false economy. You can't do that. I mean, for example.
But you guys are. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, we're not. We're not.
You guys are saying that this is a group. If you don't belong in the group, stay out. That's what.
No.
That is what you're saying.
No, it's not.
No, that's what you're interpreting because it's what you want to hear.
It's not what I want to hear. It's what you're saying about if you're not a 70% or you're not going to be on a pro team. That's what you're saying.
No, you're not saying that. Like that's not even true.
That's not
like people who make 60% win rate are in top teams.
I didn't. I said that if you're 55%, I didn't say you have to be 70. I didn't even say you have to be 60. But skill level wise, you miss out on skills in order to.
The tournaments aren't going to be interesting to the average player base. So if you're saying that you want people to be accepting of it or to be interested in it or you want it to grow, well, how's it going to grow if it's only going to grow with a select few players?
Yeah, but I said earlier.
That's exactly why I'm saying that the tournament scene isn't growing. It's definitely not dying because the pro players are still there and they are very pro and we have more competitive teams overall through the servers now than we've had ever before. At the same time, those are the players that actually have a chance, that have a chance to get into the top 8, that have a chance to make it. The average player can only dream of that. It's just like what Fugit said with the football players. All of the people want to play football. Very few people actually get to make it to pro. And if mobile game, if you know you're not going to make it to the pro levels anyhow, why would you put in so much time and effort to try when you know it's not going to work beforehand because you lack the skill level in order to participate at that level?
I mean, in real life, I'm quite a good golf player. I've got a 1 handicap. And I've played with the likes of Rory McIlroy here in Dubai. And you know what? The level of difference between him and me is huge. Absolutely huge. And if I were to turn around to, say, a 18 handicap player, the level is even bigger. And it's unfortunately, that's the way professional sports work. And these guys are professionals. That's not to say that people shouldn't give it a go. I'm all for everybody giving it a go. But don't kid yourself with thinking that I'm going to put a team together. And trust me, I know. I helped put together the Vale team that went into Clan Wars for winter. And you can't sit there saying, I'm going to put a team together and we're going to train every day and going to win. The expectations was top 16 or better. We got to top 8 and that was bloody hard work. And even in top 8, there are teams who just absolutely annihilate you. And no matter how good you are, and no matter how much effort you put in and how much training you do, we're always going to be annihilated by those teams. We could not beat ACVA, and we couldn't beat Endgame in the PYS or anywhere else, because the level of competency and skill is huge. And I said, and Amunet was in the street. We were streaming together one of the games. And ACVA are a really good clan, filled with some amazing players. And we said in that stream, the level between Endgame and ACVA is big, but the level between ACVA and the rest of the top 8 is just as big. And when you then look at that, well, okay then. So then you've got the top 8 to the top 16, then the top 16 to the top 32, then the 32 to 64. The levels get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's a waste of time me saying to somebody, look guys, you may be good, you may win your QTs, bring your clan together, have a bash at Clan Wars and aim for top 8. They're not going to get there. And if they're not going to get there, they're just going to turn around and say, well, we just rolled out against Raid or Endgame or Vale or this or that. What's the point of playing? Be realistic. Guys, give it a go. Bring your team together
exactly
and work and work and work at it. And then you will get better. And as you get better, then you will see yourselves as a clan improving through clan wars. But at what we've got at the moment, and it's not an elitist, them and us. I mean, I'm not a super duper unicum. I'm not. But I have to be realistic, and there are guys in this game at the pro level, and it's not about the 70% win rates, and it's not about that, because I know people with 70% win rates are nowhere near these guys' level. Nowhere near.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they've still got 70% win rates. I know. I've seen my clan recruit, and I've seen players with, amazing win rates fail the recruitment because they can't play to the level that they need them to play at. And you see clans at this level saying, we need more than just win rate. We need the damage, and we also need experience. You need to have experience.
Yeah.
And it's not elitist in that respect. Clan Wars is open to everybody, but everybody needs to be realistic. There's going to be someone who's really good, and there's going to be somebody who's mediocre, and there's going to be somebody who's not going to be so good. And with the greatest of respect, a clan full of 40% win rate players, as much as I love the fact they're taking part, and I've seen this, I streamed a 40% win rate clan play against Kana, and I gave them all credit. It was absolutely fantastic that they didn't throw the towel in, because the experience they will take away from that game is invaluable if they want to get into Clan Wars, because it will allow them to build and build and build. And the thing that we need to remember is this: it's not about where you are now, it's about where you want to be. And if you really are serious about getting into Clan Wars, you're not going to get it overnight. You've got to work hard at it. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Endgame haven't been at the top of the EU server since forever and a day. They've had to work to get there. Before that, there was the likes of Raid, there was the likes of Legion, etc., etc. It's not always been about Endgame. It's the same on NA. NA has not always been about whoever. Rain, who's at the top at the moment. There was Pramo at one stage. And it's the same across all the servers. And Endgame are where they are at the moment because they've worked hard to get there. And now, if you put the effort in, you'll be rewarded. But you can't go around telling people, oh, you're just going to get it. Just put a clan together, practice every day, and you'll be top 8. It ain't going to work. You've got to pull a clan together, and you've got to work, and you've got to work, and you've got to work. And you've got to have the basic skills. You've got to have the basic knowledge. And as Chocolade said, and Chocolade is, an endgame player and top of the game. And he's saying there's a huge difference between a random game and the top level of Clan Wars. Because one bounced shot could mean the game finishes. That's it, you've lost.
Could mean the tournament finishes. The championship does.
Yeah, it is. And this is the thing. It's a different level. But that's not to say people can't aspire to that level. Of course they can. I've always said this game is not elitist. It's not elitist. Really, it's not. Everybody is open. Every clan, every skill level is entitled to take part in the Prove Your Skill tournaments. And if you're serious about getting into Clan Wars and you really want to do that, then give it a go. And you may not win, and you may lose, and you may go out in the first round but there's 8 PYSs there was in winter. So that means you've still got 8 more goes at getting more experience. And it's just a question of manage your own expectations. Don't expect everything immediately. It takes time and effort. And that's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. And I don't think that's an incorrect thing to say. I think it's not right to say anybody can do it, because anybody can't do it. And I know that from bitter experience, because I've been there.
And the reason I'm mentioning 55% as an example is they're well above average for the game as a whole. But at the same time, they will not have the skill level to compete at that level, regardless of how good they glued as a team. Against the current scene that we have in most of the servers, those teams are glued as well together, but their skill level is just way, way higher. So yeah, by all means, participate, have fun with it, but be realistic about what you can actually accomplish.
I mean, I'm not a pro, but there is Maddox, Jory, Gaseo Jones. All 3 of those guys are pro players. who have played in Maddox plays on Asia, and Giseo Jones and Jory play on EU, and they are proper pro players who play at the top of their level. So I mean, they're in a better position to tell anybody what it's like up there.
I don't know if you watch other games, but some other games like with ridiculous money, and like some of the pro players, they got the championship. They're streaming and they lose, and they're not the best at their game, but they are the best player for their team. So even as individuals, you can see that there's a better players than these guys, but you cannot put all of these players in a team and say, okay, it's 1 + 1 = we win. No, it's not just that. There's a lot of parameters like to a good team. It's not just the mechanics, the strats, keeping a level head in a professional manner, that's way more important than like hitting a shot, a blind shot, for example. Like if I can see my captain is like, I don't know, knowing everything that's going in the battle. I don't need him to hit every single mark, but I need him to keep track of every single target. So a lot of these things makes professional teams. So good players do not equal professional players.
Yeah, but you also also hi, by the way. I've talked with Shoko, or not really talked, but I just agreed with his opinion in the chat when this whole topic started. Just saying, give them a 50% team and have them play together and train just as much as any other pro team is not going to get them anywhere, because you still need your own individual skill. Even if it is a 7v7, you have separate 1v1s. You have a 2v2 situation somewhere. If you can't shield your teammate, you're going to lose. If you bounce a shot or miss multiple, you're going to lose. We've seen that even in the winter season. Especially us who streamed, some shots, if you just keep missing, you're just not going to win the game, because even one tank just messing up is crucial, especially at this high level. So just saying, let's all just, even though we're not the best, play together, we have the best chemistry. That might be true. You might even have the best strats. But if you can't pen your shots, it's not going to matter.
Hold on. My argument is not that.
I didn't mean you. I meant the one talking before you.
Oh, Every's here. Oh, Every's here now. Oh, I'm going to sit back.
Put it on the phone.
Yeah, I
was here 15 minutes before Fugit. Thank you.
He's using Internet Explorer.
By the way, that's not to say that a statistically worse team can't win, because Feast has dominated the Asia server for years and years, and they were never statistically the best team. But because they were the only team to actually work as a team instead of 7 individual players, they won season after season. So it's not to say that stats are everything, but I do mean what I said before about the skill cap. At a certain level, you have a different skill cap. And especially in the servers like RU and EU, and especially those two servers actually, skill level is a huge thing, and you can be a 60% with a 70% skill cap basically, and you can win. But you can also be a 65% player, but with a 55% skill cap when it comes to tournaments, and will you not make it? But it is unlikely that players that are just like, I'm gonna just make a team and do some trainings and enter a tournament, are actually going to get anywhere unless they get the experience from the actual pro clans that have been participating in tournaments for years.
Sure. The thing is also, I'm not saying that win rate matters or that statistics do. It's an indication, because it's not just coming from nowhere, how good you are at the game. Yes, it's random battles, but it shows your player skill, it shows your game awareness, your game sense. When is an enemy going to do something? You need to anticipate everything. Not just your team caller. You also, as an individual, need to be able to sometimes take matters into your own hand. Because one guy can't just control 7 people while still playing the game at his highest level. Some may be able to do that. I'm not saying they can't. But just because you're in that team and you're not the one calling doesn't mean you need to be aware of basically everything around you. And that's what, to me, a 55% player is not going to be able to do. because he's not going to be able to reach that. He either needs to focus on his movement and shooting, or just paying attention. Otherwise, this is not going to work.
You know, look, like I said, all I can do is go on my own experiences, and I'm not a high win rate player. And I said at the moment I'm probably a solid 53.5% win rate player, because that's what the win rate says, and I've had to try and work hard to get that. And you know what? I've rolled out with pro clans. I've rolled out with Immel. I've rolled out with quite a few pro clans, and the knowledge. I wasn't joking earlier when they say that, you know, sometimes I don't even know the basics required at Clan Wars level. And when I say the basics required, I mean moving without being spotted. I mean, you know, making your shots pen. It's a whole new ball game, and it's, you know, you may think you're a good player, but your shot bouncing, as Chocolate says, and as I've seen for myself in bitter experience, you bounce a shot that could be the end of your tournament. Just that one shot.
Yeah.
You putting yourself in the wrong position could be the end of you and then your tournament. And it's not just that. Some people, I've streamed some of the tours I've been in, and you know, even people on my streams have said, "Wow, Fugit is suddenly more focused." Because it's intense. These levels of games are intense. And if you speak to any of the pro players, if you speak to any of the guys in Endgame, when they played in the recent final against ACFA, I bet you they were shattered after that. Because the concentration is massive. And you can't approach it like a normal game. And it's not just about practicing, and it's not just about this and that. It's a lot of things, and you know, like I said, I'm not saying people can't do it, and I encourage everybody, if they want to get involved in Clan Wars, to do it, but be realistic with yourselves, and you know, don't expect everything immediately, because it's just not going to happen. So there you go. But Net4 Force, we didn't answer your question, and the reason we didn't answer your question is because a lot needs to take place. You've got to get people to watch it, you've got to get people to buy into it, and until that happens, and until there's more interest from the majority of the player base, then it will never be a priority for wargaming, unfortunately. It'll be a useful marketing tool, and that is about it. So you need more people watching it. You need more people supporting it. And when I say that, it's not all just about getting more clans into Clan Wars. It's also get more people watching Clan Wars. And how do you do that?
Well, I think a big thing that they haven't hit on is, you know, that at some point they're going to have to get like sponsorships and stuff like that, you know, and some form of like advertising incentives and to get it, like, you know, on a grandstand, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's what Wargaming has said before. They're not interested in that because the scene is too small, and they're not looking to make it big because that's not where their income comes from. Blitz is the game that, as far as we know, I mean, it is from a few years ago, but Blitz is the game that actually got them the most profit of all their games. But they're not interested in this part because the players that are actually interested in this game are not interested in that part. And it's not like with football. In football, you have like the people that actually play, and you have the thousands upon thousands that go to the arena to the stadium. That's the word I was looking for. To actually watch the match. And it's not like that for Blitz. It's not like that for most online games, and especially
you have
this game.
Watching at home.
Yeah, exactly. You have millions of people watching at home as well, but you don't have that with Blitz.
Yeah,
that's the thing. And
it's not aimed at that kind of audience. The whole game as a whole.
Well, I know, and that's, I mean, it's a shame because, you know, because the tournaments, in my opinion, like you guys talked about, like the player skill and stuff, you know, it's like the top level of the game. It's like to me, it's like how the game, you know, the dynamics of the game should be played out, you know, the matches, like, you know, spotting, like you guys talked about, moving without getting spotted, pinning shots, all that kind of characteristics that I think that the average player base needs to have more interest in, for a better gameplay. And the fact that you're saying that, wargaming basically just don't care about it, I mean, that speaks volumes. They basically saying they don't care about their product. That's
they do, but they use it. It's more.
They care about making money.
Well, they're a business. Yeah, they're a business
aspect of their product. They don't care about improving the quality of their product. Is what I was trying to say.
Well, what they're trying to
yeah, but that's also because it's.
Then they wouldn't make updates though. That's the wrong take.
Yeah. It's such a small percentage that actually cares about this bit of the game. A lot more people are playing the game modes that we get into the game than watch tournaments or participate in tournaments.
But they're keeping it. But they're almost keeping it a small percentage, though. If you don't give it the chance to grow, then you're always going to have just that percentage. That's the problem.
But as I said,
they're closed-minded in that regard.
Yeah, but as I said, for them, I mean, don't think they sit there thinking tournaments are a waste of space and they have no intention in them. That's not true. To them, as I said, it's a very, very useful marketing tool because it as you said, it shows you the best players playing the tanks that they are offering everybody can get, because most of the players are going out in tech tree tanks, and they're showing you what can be done with these things, and that's what people want to see, and that's great for marketing. And it's not like other sports, I mean, they haven't got players who are going around with Nike tanks or Adidas tanks. So they're never going to attract that level of sponsorship in that respect. They're not good,
Hold on a sec.
Go on.
Hold on a second. Wargaming does anyone know what happened to the World of Tanks PC tournaments?
They didn't bring the numbers they wanted to.
Yeah, because the gameplay is not the same you are experiencing in the game, because the tournament scene is totally different. It's just a stalemate. It's just like
correct.
Playing chess.
It is. It's a completely different gameplay. Tournaments to random is different.
It's like totally different, and they didn't expect it to be such a boring game. Basically, I can understand the game, everything about it, and I'm interested in watching. I'm getting bored. So if I am the 100% candidate for such a tournament, and I getting bored, you cannot get anyone on board.
I don't know what you watched, but I didn't get bored watching it.
No, but he means PC. He's talking about PC, right?
I'm talking about PC.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
I have watched that live.
Ah. Okay.
I never.
But it's not that interesting like other tournaments when you can actually be the whole time you're watching something. Most of the for 7 minutes, the lights are going around the ridge trying to spawn. I was like, okay, it's not what I'm expecting from the game as a whole. So
how is that for you with Blitz tournaments?
In Blitz tournament, it's better, but I think they get burned with that experience, so they're not going all in on Blitz. And it's not like a huge crowd in Blitz. Like the whole Blitz community can fit in one stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, if you discount the Russian server, but yeah.
Even with the Russian server, you can put all of these guys in one stadium, and you can see the big esports titles. They can fill that stadium in one tournament.
Yeah, but
so it's a little bit different. So, but yeah, I mean, it's the shame is Blitz is not the same as PC. It's a really, really good esport game because it needs skills. It gives viewing the game is actually good. Viewers can actually be entertained. It's a shame that's not getting better, but that's it. It is what it is.
I mean, one of the things I see in look, most professional teams, and I'm not talking Blitz now, I'm just talking normal sports. They work hard on their own image, okay, and they have a fan base, and it's the fan base, and it's the same with football. Funnily enough, take football because that's one of the most popular sports in the world. It's the fan base that drives football, and it's very rare. I'm an Arsenal supporter. It's very rare for me to watch a team other than Arsenal because I'm not interested because it's not my team. I'm interested in my team, and I'm interested in watching how my team plays. And it's the same to an extent with Blitz. You'll get, I mean, I get more viewers, for example, if I'm streaming, say, Endgame, or Raid, because I suddenly get the German community jumping in to watch Raid. I get a lot of viewers if I'm streaming Win, because I suddenly get the Finnish people jumping in. And there's a lot of that in Blitz. And I think one of the ways to make the Clan Wars scene more inviting and more successful is we need, to an extent, to increase these fan bases. And one way that goes to show, I mean, when they did the Blitz with the Blitz Cup and when they do the Twister, you get clan avatars, yeah, for the top 4 teams or whatever. And they're very successful. Quite a lot of people roll out with them. And Maddox, if he's still there, I'm not on Discord at the moment, so I can't see. Maddox is still there. My viewing figures when I stream Feast games on Asia go up by at least 30, 45, 50% sometimes. So if I'm streaming a particular team, and it's no disrespect to that particular team, but I'll probably get about, I don't know, 40 viewers. Because Asia doesn't have a massive viewing base because of the time differences. But if I've got Feast in the title, I'm suddenly jumping up to 80 odd viewers. Because there's a fan base for Feast. Okay? And fan bases are a big thing. And, you know, one of the things I think that would be successful for Clan Wars is if you can get the teams to build a fan base, and that takes not just the team's effort, that takes also Wargaming's effort to an extent, even though they can't show favoritism, but they do it with the avatars, and it also takes the streamers or YouTubers as well. And if we can build up those fan bases, more people will come in. Because, what have you got? You've got something that can be watched by a lot of people, and there isn't shed loads of people watching Blitz, okay? Across all the servers, you're going to be lucky to hit 200,000 people. That's all the players, and not all of those players are going to be watching. So be optimistic. You're going to have about 25% of that overall across all the 4 servers watching the internet, watching YouTube to watch a Blitz tournament. So you're going to be you're looking in the realms of no more than 50,000 people in real terms, as your target audience. And out of those 50,000 people, you're going to be lucky to even break that. I mean, on the RU server, they get roughly about 20,000 people when they do the big Blitz stuff on World of Tanks Blitz for RU. It's around 20,000 people. So that's quite a lot of people.
Wasn't
for a
it
live
even
stream.
40k for the Blitz Cup?
There you go. This is a large amount of people for Blitz. And the reason being
but that's
because...
40 rewards.
Yeah. You've got...
That is also true.
But what you've got a game that is fast-paced, realistically. It very rarely, unless you're on Castilla, lasts 7 minutes in the tournament scene. So you've got a fast-paced game. You have got a fast-paced game. And, you know, you've got something that can be, to an extent, relatively entertaining. But you've got to drag the audience in. It's not the clans necessarily that are going to make Clan Wars a success. It's the audience. Mm-hmm. And the more people who want to watch it, and the more people who want to get involved in it from that viewpoint, the more wargaming will take an interest. It stands to reason. It's all a vicious circle. So in answer to your question, Net4 Force, it's great saying, can we do something to sort of, you know, lobby wargaming? It's not just wargaming. It's the community as well. You need to get the community or people in the community to actually watch, grow the audience, grow the demand. If you grow the demand, then it changes the dynamics of what is actually going on with Clan Wars. And it's all about demand. That's what it's all about.
The thing here is, as well, is that you have, like, let's say 1% in this game is actually competitive. Mm-hmm. Then you have 5% of the game that's actually interested in competitive stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's like a maximum of 10%, I mean like maximum, that's actually a part of the active community.
Yeah,
that
there is
leaves
that as well.
80% of the game that doesn't care about tournaments, that doesn't care about being active or social, that is just there to play the game. Like, for instance, if you look at the big Discord server, the amount of people that are on there, I think we've got like 90k people there now. Most of them don't actually chat there at all, so that's another matter. But still, that's a fraction of the actual players for the 3 servers that Discord server is for. And to me, that kind of also goes. I mean, I don't want to rain on people's parade, but in this case, I feel like I'm just being realistic because it's just the competitive scene in Blitz. Of course, it might grow a little bit, and it would be great if Wargaming did more for it. But it's never the goal of the game, and it won't ever be the goal of the game because it's just too small a percentage for Wargaming to cater it with lots of money or whatever it is they want to throw at it. Because it's just such a small percentage.
Nobody's asking it for it to be a goal. You're just asking for more attention, that's all.
But yeah, and that would be great. But at the same time, that would require more staff hours and everything. I think it's already great. I think it's stupid. Well, not stupid. Stupid is not the right word. I think it's great that they're actually streaming some of the finals on the big server. I would love for them to do that for NA and Asia as well. They used to let us streamers do that for them. We get stream links for the stream on the official channel. And nowadays they do it themselves. But it would be great if they did that for all servers, because that would also up the ante. And yes, Asia server is smaller, and no offense to Asia, it's always like they're a few years behind in the competitive scene somehow.
Yeah.
But NA has gotten some really great teams, and they deserve showcasing as well. And it would just be great for Wargame to take more of an interest. At the same time, realistically, I don't expect him to.
But it's interesting you should say that, because I was having this discussion with somebody only the other day. You have to look at it from this viewpoint. I mean, you touch on a point there, which is very important, I think, because somebody said to me, Wargaming are no longer giving any, Clan Wars is dead, they're not giving anything to it. That's so wrong, because by them taking it away from the streamers for the finals on CIS and on EU, goes to show that Wargaming are starting to see the attraction that the Clan Wars top finals do bring in. Because if it didn't bring in attraction, they wouldn't take it away from the streamers, simple as that. And I think that's a good move, as you say, and I'd love to see it extended to the other servers. You are right, and it should be. But Wargaming are starting to see that, and it's what I was trying to say earlier, the more the interest in the audience and the target audience grows, the more they are going to say, well, hang on a minute, we need to consider this a bit more. And it's all about audience. It's not about participation as such. Only 8 clans can get into the top 8. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. So, it's very competitive up there. So it's not always about participation at that level. There are pros and there are pros. But there is, to an extent, a need to grow the participation from the audience. The more people who watch it,
and not just for reward.
And not just for the rewards.
Your answer
correct.
Be to grow that though? Like you said earlier about your favorite soccer team, like you root for your favorite team. So, what would your answer be to grow that then? How would you go about that?
Advertise it more.
Yeah.
As in advertise the teams more.
I think
more
that
information on the teams, make little showcases, get people interested in actually following that team.
Correct. And this
I think to help aid in that, because like you said, I mean, the other side of the coin is we can only root for what they give us, right? And so I think that they should take a portion of the year or whatever tournaments or whatever. They need to somehow turn it into like a season, like a league, like a thing.
Yeah.
Like you need to have time to have a favorite team, and then to have time to cheer for your favorite team, not just one tournament over a couple weeks. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
that's the issue.
You need to root for your team all year long, basically. Is what
I think that comes later because you can't just jump into it. And one of the things I'm speaking to the pro clans.
No, but like I said, they just need to make like a league. Yeah, they need to make a short, a mini league. Yeah, there needs to be like a league.
One moment. One of the things I've been talking to the pro clans about recently is doing these, basically like get to know the pro clans, and you know, I've only done one so far. I need to try and entice the other pro clans to get involved, but the idea being is get more people to understand and you know, meet the pro clans, so to speak, across all the servers, not just EU. Although I will struggle with RU because they generally don't speak English and I generally don't speak Russian. But and that's one of the things. But you know, once you start doing that, then you start raising the awareness. Once you've raised the awareness, when you then start looking at things like leagues, well, a couple of things come into it. Firstly, there's a lot of effort goes in at the pro level in the clans just to prepare for a season, let alone a league. So, you know, you've got to take that into account as well. These guys aren't paid vast amounts of money. They're not going to drop their real lives to dedicate on a pixelated game unless the monetary rewards are there as well. No one's going to do that. So you've got to. We've also got to be realistic in that respect. We can't expect the pros to drop their normal lives to work a league. They can afford to do it a few hours here there every day to play to do training to get ready for a Clan Wars tournament. Although most of them get really miffed that the PYS takes so long, but the general pro side of the tournament only takes a few days, so they can live with those little sacrifices every now and then. But to do a league, that's going to be more intense, and the chances are the pro clans may not accept that. They think, well, it's too much for the rewards that we are getting as pros. You know, if we're
not just that.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry.
No, go on.
One of the issues you run into with the whole root for a specific team kind of thing is the fact that you have players are switching teams all the time.
Yes.
Don't fault them for that. By all means, they should do whatever they want to do.
There is that.
But
as
it
well.
also makes it harder to cheer for a specific team. The teams don't have the name yet, that their name is the brand in itself. The players are currently the brand.
Correct.
And that means that if the player switches teams, that also switches basically the fan base. And that makes it harder to actually get people interested in creating the fan base. And what I wanted to say earlier, I love that you're doing meet the team kind of videos, but that's the sort of stuff that wargaming should do.
I know.
If they want to build on this, if they want to build a fan base for tournaments, they should be doing that. At the same time, they won't be doing that if people keep switching teams.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I mean, it shouldn't be us. I mean, the gravitas comes from the bigger people. It comes from wargaming. It comes from the bigger YouTubers. I get that, but we have to start it somewhere to get those others to say, yes, this is a good idea. Let's roll with it now, and we can give it more justice. I mean, we've got to start somewhere, and it's like wargaming now streaming the finals for EU and RU. At one stage, they're only interested in doing the Twister Cup. Now they're not. Now they're interested in doing other tournaments, which is great, and I have no problem with that. But you've got to start it somewhere.
Point out, before they would only stream the RU server.
Correct.
So the fact that they've been streaming the EU server for, 2 years now, is already a massive advancement.
Exactly.
Which it shouldn't be, but it is.
No, but this is my point. You've got to somewhere. It's got to start somewhere, and the start point has got to be with us. Unfortunately, with the community, I say. Not me or you individually, but the community. It's got to start with the community. And the community are the ones who've got to lead the way. And as much as the community, certain people won't like it, it's then got to be taken away from them by wargaming or the bigger members of the YouTube community. But I don't have a problem with that, to be perfectly honest with you. Because if we can get to that stage where, it does get an interest, and then the likes of wargaming say, okay, you started, great, but we're now going to start doing this as well, rather than you. That's fine by me. I'm absolutely perfect with that. But we just got to start it somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, the end goal is to have a self-sustaining system. So, if wargaming takes over and makes the system self-sustainable, then that's all good, to be honest.
at the same time, regardless of how we wish things to be, and regardless of how we wish wargaming would think or work, we do have to stay realistic and realize that as long as only such a small percentage is actually playing competitively or caring about competitiveness, you can't expect wargaming to create massive differences for the competitive player base, basically. Because that's just not who they cater to, and that's the whole issue of pretty much everything competitive.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that either. I think you're right. And unfortunately, I have to agree with you as well, Chocolate, that the fact that they've had this game since 2014 and they haven't moved in certain quarters sometimes goes to show how stagnant business is. It's not, it's business. And one of the things we tend to forget is, as much as we would like to think that we are, or we have a say, unfortunately, when it comes to the grand scheme of things, the RU server will dominate. It will always dominate.
Except for the Sheridan.
Except for that.
I do want to point that out, because when they did the poll on the Discord server, the RU server was leaning towards liking missiles, and it's the English server that was like very much against it, and they actually listened to us, but that's also because we were so much more vocal also in votes itself. But no, basically I'm drifting off, but exactly. RU is way bigger than pretty much all the servers combined.
Yeah, and they do dominate to an extent, but that's not to say that again they can't be overturned, because they can, as you said there, with ATGMs. And one of the things we're trying to look at is to get that discussion between the pro clans and the players who play, so we as CCs can feed this back in. And it's not easy though, guys. Rome is not built in a day, and it has to be realistic what we discuss. And unfortunately, a lot of what is thrown out there isn't overly realistic.
Because of the small percentage.
There you go. So, what we're trying to do is get to a point where we can lobby. And the more people we can get who act in the interest of the game, not just in the interest of themselves. I mean, if you go onto the big server, you'll see people saying lots of different things, and it's completely ignored by wargaming, because those things then just turn into a meme, and everybody loses interest in wargaming. Just think, well, what's the point of giving them a voice? They just abuse it anyway. But what we're looking at is how can we turn this into proper what community lobbying should be? And it's not easy. It's not easy, because you are effectively talking about a big business money earner. It's a massive money earner, guys. It's not a couple of $100. We're talking almost billions.
Millions.
And in the eyes of business, unfortunately, and you have to remember this, businesses are concerned with raw data, and 9 times out of 10, the chairmans of the boards are not the people, or the board of directors and the people who make a say in how the business goes in this direction or that, generally aren't players. Okay, so they generally their knowledge comes from statistics and data, and that doesn't normally translate into what really happens in the game. So it's very difficult to get a business to drop something that they think is a money earner. Okay, and that's why ATGMs took so long, because as far as they're concerned, everybody was playing them. They're one of the most popular tanks in the game. Why would we change that? And then they did a survey and found, people don't like them. Maybe our data wasn't showing us the true picture. So
the funny thing is, they actually admitted this. I'm not sure if it was only to the CCs or actually on stream. They admitted that the data that they got from the game was pretty much the opposite of what the vocal community was actually telling them. But the thing is that if you only look at the numbers, of course, the Sheridan, it was completely OP and you can abuse it in horrible situations. of course it's going to get played a lot. That doesn't make it okay for the game as a whole.
Correct, and that's the thing. You know, this is where raw data and statistics don't relate and translate into what we see in the game.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like people saying, well, why would we need to change the smasher? Clearly, people love it. Well, of course they love it because you can roll out and wreck people, and that's why they love it.
Exactly.
But the people being wrecked don't necessarily love it. The people who haven't got it don't necessarily love it. It's just the way it works. But that doesn't translate to the people who don't play the game, and that's because they don't play the game. And you know, I've sat on plenty of boards to know that board directors aren't generally into that sort of stuff. They're generally into their facts and figures. And I'm not going to talk about the Annihilator Dark. Don't worry. You know, so change takes a long time in a business. It's not quick and it's not overnight. And you can go back and look at the things like the spare parts fiasco, etc., etc. It takes time, but that doesn't mean to say that they won't listen. Because I can assure you, if you put it into sensible context, you may not get the answer you want immediately, but they do listen if it's in the interest. And we've seen that with tournaments. They dropped the tickets or the cups or whatever it was, the ticketing tours, following the fiasco that came in spring. They did drop that. They are looking at changing the MM to not give 100% win rates an advantage. So they are looking at things, and they brought in a winter season. If they didn't think Clan Wars was a priority as such, or just an add-on, there wouldn't even be a winter season. So that tells you something about wargaming's mentality. They want to get there. It's just taking a bit longer than we think. I mean, it's taken 6 years so far, but it's slowly catch. You know, I mean, to get it.
That's also something.
Go on.
Sorry.
No.
That's also something to keep in mind, is that there's a lot of things us CCs and us streamers can't really say in public, but we can say to wargaming, and we've been lobbying for things for many, many years with very, very young results. I'll fully admit that. For me, my current goal is to get them to change the rules. I want them to ban the 100% accounts. I want them to create fair matchmaking. That for me is currently the goal, and it's bit by bit. But once you have a fair or a fairer tournament, you can start focusing on other things more and getting that to perfection and all of that.
Absolutely.
And I don't expect the game to become perfect. I mean, it's a very small percentage. I don't expect wargaming to suddenly do a 180 and do everything we've always wanted.
No,
baby steps. That's basically key.
Correct. And I agree with that. It is baby steps. But it's also, we've got to be mature about how we do those baby steps. And that's also a key, because you're trying to get a big business to do something that...
To listen.
Yeah. And they're not going to do that if we just send them memes and shout at them a lot. No business will do that. So it's got to be approached professionally and maturely.
Professionalism.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be approached that way. And unfortunately, some of the messages I see sent to wargaming are not what they would consider professional, and they shut you down completely.
But that's the whole thing. A lot of people really need to learn that, because if you start sending your message in a like, I'm sorry that this has happened, I feel that this would be better, I wish wargaming would do this. As soon as you start, wargaming sucks, or wargaming has to.
Exactly.
If you go with the has to's, wargaming just digs in their heels and they won't listen anymore.
Of course.
If you use a cuss word, they won't listen anymore. You need to be as polite as you can about it. It can be really frustrating. But if you're not, they're just not going to listen to you.
Correct.
So it's like dealing with a kid, right?
You're dealing with a business.
In a way, but it's like a company. They're fully allowed to shut you down if you can't converse politely with them.
Well, that's the thing. You're dealing with a business. And I tell you, if you, for example, you may not like the way that, I don't know, Apple run their App Store. And you will send them a message saying, I don't like the way you run their the App Store. I think it's ridiculous. They're not going to listen to you. Why would they? And you're a customer of theirs. They're still not going to listen to you. I mean,
Yeah, and it's the same with this.
Yes, it's exactly the same. All businesses are the same, and all businesses, if it's making their money, their view is, if it's not broken, why change it? Simple as that.
So
And
getting Wargame to change anything with regards to tournament is an accomplishment. But that's exactly why you need to do it in baby steps, because they're not going to overhaul the whole system.
Correct, because they're not going to cut their. You know, I've said this to somebody before. Don't misunderstand me. They are not going to sacrifice their main source of revenue, which is the normal player base, the 90-odd people, the 90-odd% who play, for the 1 to 5% who are interested in Clan Wars. That will never happen.
Exactly.
They will do nothing to
just
jeopardize it.
Just out of curiosity, though, how are you guys coming up with this like 10% number or whatever? Like, how was that statistic derived?
Okay, what's the most kind of people concurrently viewed any of Wargaming streams?
Then you have to watch at streams that didn't have rewards, because people generally want to watch streams for the rewards.
Even with the rewards, how much?
Like, even with the rewards, I'd say, I think consecutively it was the RU server 2019. I think they got to maybe 40,000, 65,000, thereabouts. So it's quite a few people, but they were there for the rewards. As for the statistic numbers that we're talking about, percentages, there are no exact numbers. But if you know the amount of players that are in the game every day compared to the amount of players that are actually in competitive teams compared to the amount of players that are actually active on Discord, it's a rough estimate, but it's a pretty accurate estimate.
Yeah. I mean,
so are you taking into account only players on teams, or are you taking into account the player base that's interested in the game that's also interested in tournaments? That's where I'm getting confused here.
A bit of both. The thing is that we can't give you exact numbers, because those are the numbers that Wargaming has never given us. But based on what we see as streamers and in the tournament chats and in the tournament registrations and all of that, compared to the whole game, it's just very tiny.
I'm just how you're saying it's 10% versus, you know, maybe it could be 25, or maybe it could be.
Because it's an estimate. That's your answer. An estimate.
Well, at the moment, you've got three.
I just have a hard time believing that with all the, you know, the season tournaments, the weekly tournaments, the players that play the game, I just have a hard time believing that only 10% of the game population is interested in tournaments. That's,
well,
hang on.
I'm going to say 10% is an overestimate right now.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you real life experience. So you've got three at the moment, because Wild Ones Help has just popped off. You've got three of the main streamers from EU here. Me, I mean, and every. And every...
Look at the viewers they're getting.
At the end of every tour, we have to send all the data to Wargaming. Viewers, people on stream, concurrent viewers, etc., etc. And I guarantee you this. On average, EU probably has somewhere in the region of 35,000 people playing. Okay? On average. None of us are getting 350 people viewing. Or 3,500 people viewing our streams. None of us.
Maybe like 100 max.
Yeah, none of us. So we're not even getting to the 10%. Because if we collated all our data, and don't forget, some of the people who are watching my stream are also watching every stream and Aminet's stream. So there are crossovers. But if we put all our data together, nobody is hitting that 3,500 viewer figure. Nobody. Even collectively, we're not hitting 3,500. I guarantee you that for a fact. So we're not even hitting 10% of the EU player base. That's just EU. I mean, that's how big it is. And then if you go and have a look at the viewing figures over time, I mean, just go and have a look at, say, my views for Asia, and then look at Jack's views for Asia. Okay? Over a period, EU, over a period of time. We're probably not getting there either. So when we're saying it's an estimate, because as Amina says, we can't predict realistically. We can only go from certain things how many people are playing the game. So we know from our streaming view figures and our streaming figures that we're probably in a ballpark figure of about no more than 10%. But as Maddox says, that's probably overcooked as well. It's probably more in the region of between 5 to 7% of the overall interest that we gain, and that's just how it works. Now,
there's even one more layer to the story, is that when you currently talk about active player base, if we talk about total number of registered player, that's even a more sad number.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. And then you see the viewing figures go up when you start offering
I get
rewards.
that. I was just confused on how you came up with the number, but also I think you guys aren't taking into account, because I actually know a ton of players that are interested in tournaments. They love the tournament scene, but they don't watch the streams. They don't watch tournament streams at all.
No, and I know quite a few pro players who don't watch, and this is the thing. So when the tournaments are not gaining a wide enough audience. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that, and until it grows a bigger audience. And I'm not saying that for selfish reasons because I stream them. I'm saying it from a game, from a clan wars perspective. Until the audience grows, and don't get me wrong, Wargaming do everything they can to grow that audience, which is why they do giveaways and rewards for watching the streams. What, you think they like giving away? What, do you think they like giving away keys to open lockboxes? No, they do it to get people involved to watch the stream, and that's why they do these rewards.
I think that the one reason that we didn't get any rewards for the streams this spring season was mainly to see how much it's grown or not.
Correct.
And it has grown compared to what it was before, but it's still tiny because without rewards, you can think that between all of us together, there's maybe 200, 300 viewers.
Yeah. And this is the thing, and this is what we've got to try and bridge that gap to get people, and we do it in multiple ways. I mean, we're allowed to advertise our content on the main Wargaming server to try and capture that audience. And again, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And this is the thing, there needs to be more exposure. And the more exposure there is, the more people will come. But again, I don't think at this moment in time, with the game as it is and with the player base as it is, I still don't think you're going to get the massive numbers that would be needed to change Wargaming's opinion that they need to throw more resources at it, is the point I'm trying to get at. And until there happens to be something that Wargaming has a light bulb flash to turn around and say, you know what, this is really popular, we should now throw resources at it. And it's all driven by popularity. Everything's driven by popularity. And that's the thing. And Simon says in the chat, yeah, but what about the likes of Panzerflee and Meadsy? They don't do tournament streams. That's the thing. And you'll find that the bigger YouTubers prefer to do videos rather than streams, because they can capture their audience over time. Streams are real time, and this is the thing. It's a different type of YouTuber, and you will see that the majority of us who do the streams, we have a community. Rolling Swarm has got almost 6,000. I mean, it's got 7,000. I got 5,000, etc., etc. And that goes to show that we're not getting the audiences for the streams. I mean, we could all just turn around tomorrow and say, sod it, we're not going to stream anymore, we're just going to do videos. And we'd grow our subs and we'd grow our viewing figures. But that's not why we do YouTube.
But that's actually a good comparison.
Yeah, but that's not why we're doing YouTube. We're doing YouTube because we have a passion for clan wars and streaming. But anyway, sorry,
with Darren, for instance. No, I keep interrupting you as well, I'm sorry. When Darren streams, he gets on average like maybe 400 viewers. We get those kind of numbers when we stream with rewards. That's saying a lot about how popular tournaments are. When we stream a tournament without rewards, we get about 1/10 of that. And yeah, that's the whole issue with this, because even with just watching YouTube, people generally don't care about tournaments. The competitive scene does. They will watch. They will have some fans and friends. They will watch. The average player generally doesn't care.
Correct.
Well, then would it be wise for an incentive program then? I mean, should there be rewards for the tournaments?
You mean for the tournaments or for watching tournaments?
Yeah, for watching it, not for playing. We're talking about the viewer, the fan base here. So like we talked about the key fiasco and all that. I don't really want to get into all that. That's not where I'm headed with it. But what I'm saying is, would it be wise? And I get what you're saying about being a realist, and I fully agree with your comment about it's just not their focus or whatever. But from your guys' side, the community side that wants to grow the tournaments and grow the fan base. I mean, would it be wise, to somehow petition or to get Wargaming on the bandwagon to, incentivize it, to offer incentives to grow the fan base?
Yeah, but then it becomes a double-edged sword, because then you only get people watching it for the rewards and nothing else. And then
there have been people. Sorry.
No, go on. I'd finished
there
what I was
have
going
been
to say.
people in the past that do start watching tournaments throughout the reward streams and basically found the scene because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's a very small percentage, and I do think that they would have found us regardless, because they are advertising game, and nowadays they even advertise in the in-game news, and I think that's a very good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tricky because the amount of people that start spamming about where are my keys in the tournament channel after there's just been a very epic fight with a very epic finale and everything. That is frustrating. It's frustrating for the players because it's like, were we just there to shoot potatoes or whatever? But it's also frustrating for us streamers. It goes both ways.
Yeah.
And I do hope that Wargaming brings the rewards back, because I do think that it makes the scene a little bit bigger, and of course it helps our channels grow, which makes streaming not necessarily more fun because we do it for the gameplay, but it does help, so to speak.
Yes. Because don't forget, we don't get paid by Wargaming for streaming or anything like that, and we do it because we have a passion for it, and we want to expand that area. We don't do it for our for any personal gain. In that respect, we do it. I mean, the trade-off is hopefully we'll get more subscribers. But as I said, I mean, we're not matching. We will never match the subscribers that the guys who can churn out a video every 3 hours can do. It's just never going to happen.
Not with tournament streams. No,
not with tournaments. And this is the thing. So we live in that realistic world whereby if we were infatuated with views and subscribers, we wouldn't stream tournaments. It's as simple as that. But we're not. That's not what drives us. And we do. A lot of people don't realise this. We do share the same concerns and the same passions as the pro clans and the other clans and everybody else out there in making the tournament scene more competitive, more appealing, and growing the audience. But at the same time, as it says, we also have to be realistic. There are people who are just not interested. They come on and say, "Where's my reward?" After an epic battle, where we're all talking about, wow, that was intense, that was mad, I mean, they must be shaking or whatever. And it's a disrespect to the streamer, it's a disrespect to the two teams that have just played, because where's your booster? So it is a catch-22 in that respect. It is a catch-22.
Just to quickly answer to Tunaran in the chat, Wargaming has hinted at the Sheridan missile being available in whatever way, we don't know, in the upcoming update, and I think that has to do with Gravity, because they have been showing it off for the trailer for that.
Yeah.
We don't know how, we don't know for sure, they've not confirmed anything, aside from showing the missile, the Sheridan missile appearing in a garage. So it has been hinted at, but nothing is certain.
And on that, I think we'll leave it there, because we've been going for just over 3 hours. Yeehaw!
We could talk about this for hours, I believe, but
we could.
Unfortunately, it's not going to change the outcome.
But it's been an interesting chat. I mean, it's been good to get other people's views. It's been good to get questions coming in from the people on YouTube and from the community. And that's the whole idea of these chats, guys. These chats are not to shut people down. They're not to say your ideas are stupid. They're to explore realistic concerns and ideas that the community have. And if we, as CCs, can then feed that back, then we will. And it's as simple as that. That's what we're here to do as well. So it's not a one-way street. We haven't got all the ideas, and we need to also hear from the community. And I'm telling you, wargaming are not all deaf, but it takes time and it has to be done in a mature and professional way. That's all I'm saying.
And with what we're saying, I mean, we can sound pretty negative, and we don't mean to rain on the parade, but we've been dealing with wargaming for a few years, and on a different level, so to speak, than most people. So we kind of know how long it takes for an idea to actually take a root with wargaming, and then to actually get anywhere takes a lot longer even then.
Yeah.
Which can be very, very frustrating. It's not always fun to be a CC. But I do have to hope that things will change also for the competitive scene. We just need to hang in there and just keep giving our arguments in a calm and collective manner.
Absolutely. And I keep saying, you know, together we can achieve something, but we have to be together. And that's the main thing.
Yeah.
But as I keep also saying, Rome was not built in a day. These things take time, even more so when you're dealing with a business that is making a lot of money doing what they're currently doing.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So, yes. So thank you all for joining. Thank everybody on YouTube for popping in and having, you know, popping the questions across and everything. Really enjoyed the interaction there. That was great. It's always great to get a lot of questions and a lot of comments coming in. And again, guys, you on Discord, it's meaningless without you lot, because it'll just be me monologuing and being an opinionated shit. So it's always great that I have people on Discord to argue with, and well, it's not arguing, it's to debate with and to explore things with, and to basically make people see things from other people's points of view, which is what it's all about. That's what is going to make the community better, seriously. And I know that sounds like I'm wearing rose-tinted spectacles, but I am right-wing, so I can say that on occasion. And with that, I'm going to go. I've enjoyed every minute of it, longer than I normally do one of these streams, but we covered a lot of topics, a bit more than I anticipated, but we covered a lot of topics, which is always great fun. So thank you all for that, and until the next time, guys, you know, wherever you are, whatever time zone you're in and whatever day you are at, please enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and hopefully I'll catch you all again soon. And I'm going to say a big goodbye, and no doubt the people on Discord are also going to say a big goodbye as well now. Or maybe not.
Goodbye.
Where's my keys, Fugit? I watched the stream. I want my keys.
No keys today.
With that,
maybe
No
Jack
keys,
has
no
them.
likey.
I hear keys.
Oh, Jack wasn't here. Did he steal my keys?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
Jack's got them all.
The audacity.
Right, I'll catch you all
How
later.
dare you,
Bye.
Jack.
Cheerio.